Welcome back to Western University. This is Ontario Summer Football League Varsity Championship action. They say in life you leave the best for last. Well, that couldn't be the case any more clearly than here at Western University. It is the A Championship between the AAA programs known as the Essex Ravens and the London Junior Mustangs. Both teams undefeated over the course of 2022. The London Junior Mustangs second in the division in points forward and points allowed with 189 and 53 respectively. However, not just number one in the division, number one in the entire OSFL were the Ravens in those categories. Coach McKay, 193 points forward, just 39 points allowed in 2022.
I think we're going to see a lot of the same thing we saw in the junior varsity game. It's going to be a war of attrition between these two teams, inside and outside. And these guys are both very athletic.
We just saw the junior varsity teams play each other. The same two programs, ironically enough. Essex had a 6-0 lead for the majority of the first half of that action. Ended up losing 26-9. Yeah, you could say the junior varsity team won it for Coach Jay. However, all the focus now turns to the varsity team. The team that the legend Coach KJ Kennemy was the boss of until his passing this summer. Greg Wilson, with some large Jordans to fill in the role of KJ Kennemy, is one win away from accomplishing the goal that KJ Kennemy set out for, and that was a championship here in 2022.
Yeah, it just seems right, and it would seem too romantic to not let this one get to the victory column in the last game. These guys are very athletic. They have kids committed all over the country on this field right now, and it is going to be smash-mouth football for sure.
Very touching that KJ's wife, Michelle Kennemy, and as well as I believe his nephew, Ethan Chambers, out there for the ceremonial coin toss as the captains respectfully shake each other's hands. They're about to go to war here in London, Ontario.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that these two teams and two programs are on this field to play the final championship game as well as junior varsity. These two programs are storied. They have great resources. They have great facilities. And they have culture in their town with both University of Windsor down in Windsor and the University of Western Ontario Mustangs here in town. And with that comes a lot of culture. With that comes a lot of great coaches who are available to help to, again, to plant the seed and to carry on the tradition and culture that's in town. And I think you see a good example of this here.
Well, an example of that happened in our previous game. The head coach of the London Beefeaters, who are the two-time defending OFC champions, well, his first year coaching the junior varsity team, they just picked up the inaugural OSFL A championship. So It takes great leaders to lead great kids.
Yeah, Coach Stenning and Coach Snyder coaching the junior varsity team, and they are great coaches here in town in the high school league as well. So, again, no coincidence that they were able to be successful here this summer.
And just like we saw in the junior varsity affair, these two teams will line up parallel to each other for a moment of silence for the aforementioned Coach KJ Kennemy. And we actually talked about this in our previous broadcast, Coach McKay. We might as well reinstate it right now. A weekend like this is not possible without a KJ Kennemy. And he didn't just do it this summer. He's done it in the past with the OPFL, women's flag football, e-gaming during COVID. He was a mind of mastery when it came to football and bringing kids together.
And kids just love to play for him. He was a player's coach. You know, players would run through a wall for him. He didn't coach by yelling. He didn't coach by intimidation. He coached with love and passion. And the kids could sense that. When you're a player in 2022, that's the kind of guy you want to play for.
I don't know if you caught that. Joseph Fillion, number 99, one of the captains for the Ravens, walked over and presented flowers to Michelle Kennemy. Just a touching sight. You don't normally see this kind of thing in the sport of football, but when we lose one, we all lose.
That's right. It's a loss to the entire coaching community in the province, not just London. And these guys are going to go on and play at other levels in other cities. And so Coach K's impact will be felt throughout the province over the next years.
And personally, I had the opportunity to call Vanier Cup champions with Coach KJ Kennemy. And ironically, that was before he became a coach and coached a Vanier Cup championship last year with the Western Mustangs. And to add to the irony, where's the Vanier Cup being hosted this year? In this very building. So we take a moment of silence. We miss you, Jay. We love you.
Thank you. Please remain standing And join in the singing of our national anthem.
So we head into the national anthem before this varsity championship action on the other side. The national anthem sets the table up here in London, Ontario for the Ontario Summer Football League 2022 Varsity Championship Tilt, featuring the host London Junior Mustangs and the visiting Essex Ravens. The Ravens fly into town with their black pants, buckets, and uniforms with white lettering and numbering in that teal trim. Your London Junior Mustangs, purple pants and numbers, white uniforms, and silver buckets, ready to do battle as the 16-time world champion Ric Flair, who at 70-plus years of age had his final match just a week ago, said, "To be the man, you gotta beat the man." And between these two teams, somebody's O has got to go when it comes to this championship dance.
The Junior Mustangs are going to have to do a good job of managing their emotions in this game, though. As you know, young guys sometimes don't know how to manage loss, and it'll be an emotional day on that sideline over there. So they're going to have to do a good job staying focused, and I'm sure the coaches have been working hard all week since the loss of Coach K to get them ready, and they can't let the moment overpower them here today.
And it should be noted that out of all the opposition coaches in this league, I think the most respected by KJ Academy is Glenn Mills, the head coach of the Essex Ravens varsity team that's about to take the turf against London's own Junior Mustangs. And unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, however you look at it, at the funeral service, Glenn Mills was there and he was wearing a purple shirt. That shows you how much respect those two gentlemen had for each other.
Yep, again, this is one reason Essex is in both of these games, because he's built a culture down there over the years. He wears his ring, he continues to expect tradition, and it shows on the field, as well as I'm sure as in the character of the individuals playing the game today.
Braden Rivard has the ball at the 45-yard line right between the hashes. We're 10 after 7 p.m. local time. Yeah, we're going to start a little late, but why not? It's going to be a fun one regardless. Thanks for joining us on Junior Mustangs TV, live on YouTube. Don't be afraid to hit the like and subscribe button. He's Coach McKay. I'm Jonathan Urbanowicz, and this is Ontario Summer Football League history, and it goes down right now between the Mustangs and the Ravens. A bullet sent down to the 8-yard line, mounting the attack to the left side, skipping past the 30, past the 35, and smothered down at the 42-yard line. A healthy return by the Ravens to set them up fairly on their first drive.
Boy, that guy hit that sideline and went. He's got some speed. You can tell he's pretty explosive, so I think we'll see him again today.
Once again, they say the offense wins you some tickets, and the defense is going to win you some championships, as London hold their opponents to just 53 points in the regular season. How could that be any better? Oh, yeah, 39 points given up by the Essex Ravens.
And number 13, Western safety, Mac Baker. I believe he was the Gooder Award winner for the TV Raw League this year from Lucas. He is a bit of a stud, so he's going to be captaining the defense from the top.
Last time I saw Baker, he was quarterbacking the Vikings.
Oh, yeah, he can do it all, that guy,
So they split the seam to the right side. Some tackling going on behind the play here already early, Coach. As getting tangled up with each other there was Mateo Triffin. He's the slot back, which will also do kicking duties. And I saw a London Junior Mustang pick himself up there. It must have been Ben Kaberjevic, number 6. Thanks for joining us again for Ontario Summer Football League Championship action. After calling 2 broadcasts on Friday, 5 on Saturday and 3 already today, we're just going to keep rolling here on Junior Mustangs TV, just like the Essex Ravens are going to just keep rolling on the ground. It takes 4 or 5 Junior Mustangs to eventually rip them down to the turf. Where there's a will, there's a way. On the ball, it's Basic Haddon.
Yeah, you can tell that the Junior Mustangs are expecting a big run game from Essex. They've got 5 guys on the line of scrimmage, so that's usually what you want to do when you're trying to cancel some gaps and account for a strong run game. And the first play of the game proves that.
Darian Basic Haddon in 6 games had 332 rushing yards on 43 carries. That's good for 7.7 yards per attempt, Coach. You got to love that.
Well, I think we just saw that right there.
It also equals to 55.3 yards per game. That's also pretty crafty to do some damage.
Looks like there is a penalty on the play.
I was going to say, as much as we're gloating about the Basic Haddon offense on the run game, and the officials get involved, and they actually push the ball backwards, so it'll bring up a 2nd and 8. Temperatures have cooled, slightly, Coach. 28 degrees at kickoff. Still humidex hovering near 40 degrees. Gusts from 30 kilometers an hour from the southwest direction, although not gusty right now.
Yeah, those flags aren't moving very much. I can feel it.
Oh, yeah, we can feel it more to see it.
Oh.
Pump faking, getting out of the pocket, rolling over to the left side, trying to get some real estate. He'll be hammered by 2 Mustangs at the 45-yard line. Man, oh man, the quarterback took a hit to make the play there as Nicholas Domovsky goes on the gander.
Yeah, he pulled the ball down. He didn't like what he saw there, so he decided to pull it down and go for a little run, which actually didn't look like it was going to be a bad decision for a little bit, until the white swarm met him at the line of scrimmage.
Well, if Ravens fans were watching our broadcast earlier, they saw their star quarterback on the junior varsity variety go out before halftime and wasn't able to return. They lost that game 26-9. So anytime you see Domovsky take off, you got to start holding your breath a little bit.
Yeah, he's pretty athletic by the looks of him. He's got some legs, and I'm sure he's got an arm. So, yeah, you always have to account for that level of athleticism.
Punted away at the 33-yard line, received at the 35 on the Mustang side of the field, splitting some seams and getting up to the 45-yard line. One heck of a return from your boy, Mac Baker.
Well, he's not my boy. He's Lucas's. I'll have to see him next year, but yeah, he's a heck of an athlete, like I said. And, he recognized that Essex was in a tight punt formation, meaning all of their players were in tight, which if you as a receiver or returner can get to the outside, sometimes you can get the edge and get the sideline if you can't get a fan out there far enough to defend it. And all you need is one guy in the edge pinning in your end guy, and that's going to give you some room. So it looks like he tried to find that, and he got some yards out of it.
As a result, this 1st and 10 starts at the 45-yard line. 3 weapons to the left side as they'll wag to the line. Hand the ball off right up the middle. A hole was created and a gain of easily 12 yards on that affair. To me, that looks like number 9 down there. But we don't have a 9 on our depth chart.
Yeah, there's a few numbers that are a little off in our depth chart, I noticed. But, yeah, it looks like they ran a power queen, again, where you bring the wing back from the far side to lead block for the running back. So they run that very effectively here on the Junior Mustangs program. A lot of power, a lot of counter.
So there is 9 in the backfield, and go figure, the number chart goes from 7 to 10 on my list.
I guess we can guess who it is.
Is the mystery man number 9, goes through a hole. He'll be stymied by the black uniforms of the Ravens. And as a result, it'll bring up a 2nd and 7 with 8:40 remaining here in the opening quarter of play. So we're not the only ones confused by the mystery jersey. I like that. That makes me feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I think the Essex Ravens are a little shocked. Who is this guy?
Is it a Scooby-Doo situation where you're going to rip off his mask and realize it was Old Man Henderson the entire time?
And they would have gotten away with it, too.
This is a shot down deep just over the intended target I have as Benjamin Kaberzovic, but it was just overthrown. So brings up a 3rd and 7. This is field goal range for Braden Vivar. Do you send him out there, Coach?
Yeah, I think this is within range for him. I mean, they don't have the wind right now. It's been sort of up and down, but these guys tend to have a pretty good leg. So I would expect that they would kick the 3.
London shut out their first 3 opponents in the regular season. They, in fact, shut out their first 4 of their 5 games, shutting out the Waterloo Predators, Chatham-Kent Cougars, Etobicoke Eagles, and Brantford Bisons. Braden Rivard, 37-yard field goal attempt from the near hash. The snap and the hold is good. The boot is away. This one might not have enough muscle. It's wide right. Essex gets out of their own end zone, and as a result, this remains a scoreless affair here with 7:56 remaining in the opening quarter. You got word on who our mystery man number 9 is.
Number 9 is Ethan Dolby from Parkside Collegiate. He was a co-winner of the Gooder Award here for TV Raw, and he is a heck of an athlete. He, in fact, went to OFSA to run the 100-meter dash and the 200-meter dash. Actually, he went to regionals for the 200-meter dash. He is a blazer, so he's been taking most of the totes at running back all season, so I'm not sure the reason for the they must have just left him off the roster.
Just forget
Not
your best
important.
weapon. Yeah, not important. Remember calling Ethan Doby while he played for Football Canada at the Canada Cup. In fact, he played for Team Ontario, I should say, and had a 3-touchdown performance over Team BC. That happened in Queens, and I called that game.
Yeah, he's got wheels, that guy.
So here we go. Ball at the 20-yard line. The Ravens back onto the field. Let's see what they can do here. Going back to that run offense that they've been so crafty with all 2022.
I think we're going to see a lot of smash-mouth football today. Both teams tend to run a very similar concept offensively. That one looked like it might have been a power as well.
Their lead rusher is Cole Thompson. Over the course of 9 games, he had 854 rushing yards on 77 carries. Coach, again, quick math, that's 11.1 yards per attempt. If you give your running back the ball and he's averaging a first down, pretty good.
Yeah, I might give it to him all the time. All right, here's that 4-by-1 formation we saw from the JV game. I wonder how the varsity team will play it.
As there's a blitz coming off the far edge, quarterback hastily gets rid of it, completes the pass, open territory down at the 42-yard line. One heck of a catch and grab. That's Darian Basic Haddon on the play.
Yeah, the corner was off a little far to defend that, but it looks like the slot back might have got a hold on that West or junior varsity junior Mustang halfback.
Now, Basic
right there,
Haddon, by the
number 3.
way, 4 touchdowns over the course of the regular season and averaged 55.3 yards per game on the ground. That time it was a catch and a little bit of yakka, I called that. Yards after catch to get the first down.
Yeah, that was a nice job by the corner to come up and secure the tackle.
Now, one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on, and here's kind of the flip of it, Coach. The 4-1 to the near side now.
Yeah, they're doubling up the wide receiver on the
So like a hot knife through butter right up the gut. I believe the quarterback, no, they handed off to the running back, but in my eyes, that was Kenyani Elliott. What number do you have on that play, Coach? See it here on the replay.
It's the guy with the orange shoes.
Ooh, flashy kicks.
Yeah, and that was just a little toss play.
So regardless of this broadcaster's tomfoolery of not getting the name right, it'll still be a 1st and 10 for the Ravens with 5:30 remaining in the first
We'll
quarter.
get that name for you in a minute.
They stick to this formation, though, and they're going to stick to a same play. Trying to get away from the tackle this time.
Number 28 with the ball.
Okay, so that would be Cole Thompson, which would make sense for the guy that, I don't know, carried the ball 77 times in the regular season. He also had 7 touchdowns, and the only criticism you could give Cole Thompson, though, is that he fumbled the ball 5 times.
Well, and it looked like the junior Mustang went after the ball on that play. That was he was starting to go down. He went straight for the ball to strip it.
Once you do fumble the ball, doesn't that rep sort of get out to the league? They're going, wait a minute, we're going to have to target this guy.
Yeah, get after him.
Brings up a 2nd and 12. Nicholas Domofsky in the gun. 3 weapons run the line. The snap is actually picked off the ground by Domofsky. He's going to have to get rid of it.
Oh.
What a catch on the near sidelines. If it wasn't for a great tackle by number 8 from the junior Mustangs, well, he could have hit Pater.
And that's that isolated ex-receiver that they're trying to isolate. Now, Western's given him a lot of respect, so obviously this guy can wheel and is a danger. Now, in reality, that quarterback probably should not have thrown that because that corner had closed on him in a hurry, but a very athletic grab from number 85.
Yeah, Darius Franson on the catch. Over the course of 7 games, he had 15 catches for 190 yards and 5 touchdowns. And
yeah, my guess is that's
just sort of
not gonna
filling
be
in off of all the things you said. You're like, hey, I got a feeling this is his main target. It is.
Yeah, when they double him over the top right away, he's obviously going to be dangerous.
Look at the slicing and dicing, little zigzag-esque out of the backfield. They needed 3 yards. They get 5. They move the chains. They're up to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, that was just an inside zone, mano a mano, just having the lineman block man-to-man, and who can get the bigger drive off the ball, and what can the quarterback find for a seam.
Quickly want to thank our Football Ontario partners, the Western Mustangs, the London Junior Mustangs, the London Beefeaters, the Forest City Thunderbirds for helping make this inaugural Summer Football Cup a success. And just to kind of let you know, Mother Nature's been so kind to us over the course of the last 72 hours. Friday we got off clean. Saturday we got off clean. There was thunderstorms expected here for Sunday going into the week, Coach. However, the wet stuff and the more electric stuff, which is more of a safety concern, has stayed away for the most part. However, looking at the radar, we're about 2.5 out potentially of a front rolling through the city as it does start to get darker both in time and in the clouds.
Yeah, let's hope we can get it in. I mean, the rule is that if you can get the game to halftime, it becomes an official game if you have to cancel.
Now, what does that happen, though, if the score is still 0-0?
Maybe a wrestle-off in the middle of the field.
Oh, I wouldn't. Okay, well, it'll be my first time calling that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then if there's lightning, then you got to give 20 minutes, and you
and every
continue that
lightning
up to
strikes
a
another
certain
30,
point.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
and it's
Yeah.
thunder as well now. So yeah, so let's
Thunder
hope it
as
doesn't
well.
happen. Knock on wood.
Come on. As in the gun goes Domofsky. We see 4 weapons to that left side. It's a handoff instead to Cole Thompson. Thompson still on his feet. He just kept hitting circle on the PlayStation controller, spinning and spinning his way through the defensive tackles.
Yeah, that was some good R1ing there, and my son will correct me if I'm wrong on which controller does that. But
That's
yeah,
the turbo.
Yeah, but I mean, it was basically just a bit of almost like an outside zone there, and he just tried to find a seam, and he made about 15 yards on his own.
I'm kind of shocked that they haven't tried to turn on the lights yet here at the stadium, knowing that it is getting darker by the minute here in the Forest City.
Well, unlike the old lights, these ones turn on instantaneously, so we don't have to wait for them to warm up anymore.
Don't have to wait for the cold to turn into steam, which moves the train forward? Okay.
Exactly, and there's another power by Essex.
CT continues to be a lethal weapon. I mentioned the fact that, well, Cole Thompson was averaging 11.1 yards per carry. That stat scared me, and it's showing true here during the course of this first quarter.
Yeah, and what Junior Mustangs actually didn't play that too bad. They got flow there, but Cole Thompson cut back against the grain and found some space.
We haven't even seen Kobe Ginn get involved in the action. He wears number 1 for the Ravens. He had 7 receiving touchdowns on 28 catches, and now that they're in the red zone, keep an eye out for him. Domofsky has Ginn and 4 other weapons to the right side. I thought that was well-timed, but they're going to say he was a half hair early.
Yeah, I think with that yard rule in the Canadian game, I think he crossed the defensive plane of the ball a little early. That was close, though.
Very close.
Maybe one more time on that replay.
Wow. Yeah, jeez, I don't know. If he's offside, it's by a half second early.
Yeah, that
regardless,
that was by the hair on the chinny chin for sure.
But, you know, you made a very valid point, though, that maybe some of our counterparts to the south don't understand. You got to give that yard, sort of like a neutral zone between the two lines, the battle of the trenches.
That's right, yeah. And once you commit to that and you don't get back, it's getting called.
In the States, though, I think you just call that an amazing blitz.
Yeah, right.
So Domofsky, a chance to put points on the board. Pressure coming from the Stangs. They're trying to get to Cole Thompson. Thompson finally is smothered around the line of scrimmage. Going to bring up second down. If you're the Ravens, I don't think you're going to settle for a field goal, even if you don't make this next play.
Yeah, and again, the Ravens just an inside zone. They are just man-to-man blocking. Nothing fancy to it. It's just like, all right, I'm going to lock you up. Let's see what you can do, running back. And this running back has some dancing feet, so that's a smart play.
The sky to the north of us is very dark and starting to get darker over the Forest City. You were knocking on wood. I'll join you, partner, knocking on the old noggin here that we can get through this championship game without Mother Nature intervening. Domovsky, do we get another Cole Thomas handoff?
Yep.
We do. Can't find the initial gap. Well, it closes up. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And the London Junior Mustangs refuse to get fooled by Cole Thompson again.
Yeah, and again, it was just the same play, just an inside zone. They're just letting the athletes do the job, and he's scattering about, but they were ready for that one, was able to stuff him up in the hole.
So the only fortuitous thing I could say about the storm that's coming is I say it's a 40% chance. Now, that doesn't mean, Coach McKay, that's only a 40%. It means 40% of the area is going to get hit with a storm.
Yep, that's correct.
It took me a while to learn that.
Yeah. But you complained about the meteorologists.
Oh, yeah, they were
then.
awful until I realized, oh, that's not what it means.
Oh.
So they faked the handoff. Domovsky going to go for a gander, try to go to the end zone. Touchdown, Ravens, a 5-yard scamper to end the quarter from Nicholas Domovsky.
Yeah, they had the corner route open in the end zone as well, but I think once he saw the green space in front of him, he decided he was going to tuck it and take it for himself, which was a great call. The thing with that 4x1 formation is when you run that to the field side, you have a lot of space to work with, and you got 4 blockers and all that space. And when you get man-to-man blocking out there, it can be a lot of room for running.
Well, and all the attention in the world had to be on Cole Thompson. That was pretty much 80% of that drive. They fake the handoff instead. Domovsky keeps it, rolls over to the right side, and finds a seam. The PAT is good, and we conclude the first quarter of action on a Nicholas Domovsky 5-yard touchdown. I already mentioned in this game how the kid has thrown 17 touchdowns, 1,217 yards in the regular season, and 3 interceptions. One thing I didn't mention, which needs to be mentioned now, is he also had 261 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground.
Wow. Yeah, that's an athlete. So, when you're a defensive coordinator trying to prep that, it's pretty tough to account for all of those variables. When you have a quarterback that can do it all, that makes it challenging. And my guess is if Essex may run a little RPO with him as well. When you have a quarterback that athletic and you can run an RPO, that's yet another wrinkle you have to account for defensively.
And I'm going to keep throwing this out there. You get a lead at halftime, you may, just may, secure a championship. Now, given the radar, I would expect that they would just have a delay and then give us an opportunity to play out the second half, as there isn't supposed to be any damage as far as lightning is concerned in the next 2 hours plus.
Right. We just checked the radar, and it looks like there's this one isolated band coming through, so maybe we have 10 minutes of rain, 20 minutes.
I don't know if our camera crew could even catch it, though, but some of those clouds that are rolling down off the north skyline are literally starting to roll down to sea level. You never like it when the clouds start rolling down on you. You feel like the chicken and the king. What was that story where the sky is falling, the sky is falling? They didn't believe him.
Right. And let's hope there's nothing else coming out of that sky, like a funnel or something.
Taking a great look at that cloud coverage rolling in, just to show you I wasn't fooling around there, folks. It's a 7-0 game for the Ravens. Once again, Domovsky on the 5-yard run made it a 7-0 game after the PAT was good. And, Coach, maybe you could talk about just the timing of that touchdown, too, because it's one thing to score. You get the first one on the board. That's always got to feel good. But to end the quarter doing it always puts something more in the back of your mind heading into the next cue.
It does, but it can also help to slow down momentum a little bit, because you get a bit of a timeout, you get a chance to have some water, you get a chance to walk past your bench, and so that can give you a bit of chance to sort of calm down, collect yourself, and kill the momentum. So we'll see if that happens here.
Mateo Triffin's kick all the way down to the 20. Hardly any return here by Benjamin Kaberzovic. And, well, the Junior Mustangs are going to start this all the way back at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, the Essex Ravens had a bit of a free run down there. There wasn't too many guys picked up and blocked, so a lot of the defenders were able to sort of run their lanes, and the returner really didn't have much space to work with at all.
And I apologize. He started at the 5. They're going to mark him at the 22, though. 11:48 remains here before the halftime break. Junior Mustangs trying to get the offense on the board. They go to a run play, and, ooh, a hammering hit A white bullet met a black wall on that last play, Coach. He picks up 3 yards in the play.
Yeah, that was a power, and the offensive tackle just could not move that defensive player. He just shed him like he was nothing. The defensive end shed the left side offensive tackle like he was a rag doll.
Feeling like the Yankees legend catcher Yogi Berra. This is deja vu all over again. The Ravens, well, they were leading 6-0 over the course of the junior varsity game, and yet it's them leading 7-0 right now on the varsity side. Here's a jet sweep to the near side. Trying to get some real estate is Benjamin Kaverjevic, but he runs out. Great job to seal it off by French Robert. That's Tayshawn French Robert.
Yep, in this part of the country we call that a whip, and but basically it's a slot back sweep, and yeah, you know, if you can set that up nice and get your guys pinned in, your defense pinned in, and you can get some room on the field side, you can really go for some yards. But the Essex Ravens, boy, they're playing hard, and they're flowing hard to the ball. The junior Mustangs are having a hard time blocking them, and that's allowing the Essex Ravens to sort of get to that point of attack and cut the run game off.
So with a 3rd and 7 looming, 3rd and 9 make that. Looks like they're going to actually send out the special teams. And thanks for joining us again here on Junior Mustangs TV. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button. As again, the Junior Mustangs, the junior varsity kind, prevailed 26-9 earlier today, despite losing 6-0 for the majority of the first half. And despite the fact that the scoreboard guy here at TD, or Alumni Field, has it backwards, it's 7-0 for the guests, not the Mustangs.
Yeah, Mustangs won't want to fix that, but my guess is it'll get fixed in a minute. And
almost getting to this beautifully laced punt down to the 50-yard line. Pulling it out is Kobe Ginn. Ginn trying to zigzag away from some tackles. Can't do it as Kaberjevic throws him down to the turf.
And we have a guest behind us here.
Yes, the man, the myth, the legend, Ross Spedigu.
How's it going, sir?
Wearing his Ravens ring, might I add.
Yep.
Little bling for you.
A little bling. They don't send any my way, that's for sure, Ross. And maybe if we get a chance later in the game, I wouldn't mind getting Ross's thoughts both on the junior varsity squad and their tremendous season as they were 10-0 going into today. And then both these two teams, nobody's gotten a loss. Remember, what I thought Glen Mills did was beyond respectful, beyond sportsmanship. It defied both of those two, was they didn't take the forfeit win. No. Glen Mills says, I'll take the tie instead. So neither team has a loss in 2022, despite the fact that back on July 6th when they were supposed to play at Alumni Field, neither team played football.
That's right. Big run there. Boy, that running back just pounded that ball inside, and he was going about 40 kilometers an hour when he met the defensive player.
You mentioned it earlier.
Right in the chest. Boom.
You said smash mouth football was going to be the name of the game, and it continues to ring true here.
It always is against London and Essex, isn't it, Coach Ross?
Well, as we mentioned before, it doesn't matter if it's lawn bowling or poker. It's going to be a rivalry between these two teams.
It's going to get gritty.
Ginn loses a junior Mustang, avoids another tackle, then rides a third one down to the 30-yard line. Now you see me, now you don't. Kobe Ginn with a first down.
Yeah, number 1 out in space. He made people miss, and 97 had to come from the defensive line to make that tackle.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the efforts of 97 at the tail end of that play, I'm pretty sure Kobe Ginn's going off to pay dirt. But he makes one guy miss, makes another guy look silly, then has a bigger man on his back, and I swear carried him for another 4 yards.
Yeah. And that was just on sheer momentum.
9:05 remains before the halftime break. A 7-0 lead for Nicholas Domofsky as he's going to pitch this one over to the right side, but reading the play well.
Yeah, the junior Mustangs saw that one coming.
We don't have a 9. We also don't have a 5 on our list, by the way.
Or a 97.
Come on.
We can make names up there.
Come on. So with 8:40 remaining here in the first half of play, time slowly becoming a thing of the essence, though, for the junior Mustangs, who over the course of the regular season had 189 points forward. They have 0 points on the board in this OSFL championship dance. So here's that 4-1 set. 3 will swag to the line. Domofsky handles a bit of a low snap, protected well in the pocket, fires this one deep. Kobe Ginn, the intended target.
Yeah.
Touchdown, Ravens! A 35-yard hookup between Domofsky and Ginn, and just like that, it's a 2-possession lead for the visiting Ravens.
Yeah, the safety knew it. Peter Gringy knew it. He stopped his feet and got turned around, and he just blew right past him in the seam for the touchdown.
Well, I told you on the previous drives when they were going to their bread and butter man, Cole Thompson, and they got Darian Basic Haddon involved in the action. I was like, well, where's my boy Kobe Ginn? Kobe Ginn's going to make an appearance in this game. I just got to wait when. Well, he had 7 touchdowns in the regular season. With 8:13 remaining in the first half, he's got his first of the championship dance. The snap in the hold is good, and the PAT is through. Also crucial as Mateo Triffin nails this one. Triffin over the course of the regular season was 9 for 9 on PATs. So a 14-0 game now with 8:13 remaining in the opening half. I got to put yourself in the London Junior Mustangs position here, Coach. Greg Wilson filling in for the late KJ Kedemy. And this is a tough hole to climb out of early.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I mean, the Junior Mustangs have the athletes that they could easily turn this game around. They just need a little bit of momentum, and they got the system to do it as well. The Essex Ravens, though, boy, they are coming out swinging hard to start this game, and they have captured the momentum early.
This quarter is brought to you by TeamLink, the official sponsor of the OSFL. TeamLink is a Canadian-based team management app enabling teams to share schedules, track attendance, automate reminders, chats, and more. Download TeamLink from the App Store and set up your team for free. So a Domofsky 5-yard gander to end out the first quarter of play, and now a 35-yard hookup to his star receiver in Kobe Ginn with 8:13 left in the opening half has the visiting Ravens up 14-0 over the London Junior Mustangs. Catching this on a one-hop is Kanye Nothersall. Nothersall avoided one tackle but couldn't do it as a cornucopia of black uniforms are coming down on him.
Yeah, Nothersall, the South product. Yeah, he was. They were all over him fast. Again, they're getting downfield in a hurry. And they're going to need some white jerseys, getting on black jerseys on those kickoffs so they at least can get a little bit of production and a return.
Now, the most points that the Essex Ravens have given up in a football game is 21. They won 45-21 in their last game over the Burlington Stampeders to get to this championship game. The most points they conceded over the regular season was 11. They won 36-11 over the Burlington Stampeders and 17-11 over the Hamilton Junior Tiger Cats. My point being is they play great defensive football, and they have a 2-possession lead.
Yeah, my guess is the Junior Mustangs will have
Man open behind the defense, but he can't hook him up. Isaac White, wide open down the field, had Brian Bennett, the fullback, went undetected under the coverage, couldn't get him the ball.
And that was a fullback out of the backfield. And you're rarely accounting for him to catch a ball out of the backfield, but he was wide open, and had he got that, he would have picked up some yards. He might not have outrun he might not have outrun the safeties.
No, I don't think you make a very valid point. I don't know if he's winning that marathon all the way to the end zone.
No, that'd be a long way for the big lad.
He is definitely getting him into Ravens territory. 2nd and 10. Handoff right up the middle. A little more smash mouth football. Gets this up to the 24-yard line, but still 3rd and 6. You'd assume a punt's coming here.
Yeah, I would expect that the Junior Mustangs are not going to take a chance at this point of the field position. So on comes the punt team.
Defensively, the Essex Ravens are led by Dalton Van Laer, who had 22 tackles, 12 assists for 34 total tackles, had an INT, and 5 pass blocks over the course of the regular season. He was coupled by Jesse Wilkins Flaris, who had 16 tackles, 22 assists for 38 total tackles. Get a load of this. 1 fumble recovery, 3 interceptions, including 1 interception for a TD, and a safety as this punt is blocked. The ball spins around. They're on the turf. They land on it. It's at the 15-yard line, and pulling away with the biscuit was Sonny Shetler.
That was a great block, but I bet you that Essex Raven wishes he didn't jump on it. He had lots of room to pick it up and go to the end zone.
Yeah, but you know what? Better be safe than sorry, though, right, Coach?
You're right. You're right.
So thanks again for joining us on Junior Mustangs TV. If you caught us earlier today, the London Junior Mustangs beat the Essex Ravens. No, not in this contest. It was the junior varsity kind. a 26-9 final. And that was a bit of a game of cat and mouse when you think the Essex Ravens had a 6-0 lead for the majority of the opening half. Domofsky moves everybody to the left side, hands this one off to Cole Thompson. Thompson just got caught on that back shoulder.
By 97, the mystery man. But it was a nice play because that was a power to the boundary side, and that was the defensive tackle that came across from the other side of the formation to make the shoulder tackle and keep that from going into the end zone.
Still with 6:18 remaining here in the opening half of play, I dare say this. Could this be a nail in the coffin if they were to get another TD here?
Well, only if you let it.
Good answer. It's Domofsky from the gun. Handles the low snap. Back to Cole Thompson. Thompson to the 5-yard line. Brings up third down and close. They're going to say 3rd and 1. What do you do here, Mr. McKay?
Oh, I think they're going to pound it in.
And as you say that, the big man's rumbling into the play. That's Joseph Filion. And I'm going to give a big shout out to Filion. I think it was him that went over during the moment of silence and presented Michelle Kennedy with flowers. I love seeing that in any sport when we just put sports aside.
Yeah, that's a classy act for sure. And it shows great character and exactly what Coach K would have instilled in all of those junior Mustang players.
I don't know if you've been around, but there's usually an annual Uncle Louie Day. Uncle Louie was KJ Kennedy's uncle, and they'd pass out all the flowers to the female volunteers. It's a very special day here.
That is a nice touch, yeah.
Domofsky handing this one off, stuffed on the original hold. They can't get him down, though, Coach. He's got the first down. He doesn't have the TD. But from my point of view, Darian Basic hadn't willed himself across the line of scrimmage for this 1st and goal.
Yeah, he cut that back when that first hole closed up, and their defensive end on the backside for the junior Mustangs had him in his grasps, and somehow he wiggled out for a few more yards.
Dorian Basic had 332 rushing yards on 43 carries and 4 touchdowns in the regular season. He's back there right now, joined by number 45 and Wilkins Flaris. We'll see which target gets the ball. It's Flaris pushing his way forward. He just needed 1.5 yards. They're going to say he got a yard.
That's a nice stop by the junior Mustangs for sure. They just gave it to the fullback there to rumble it in for a quick dive.
Remember, Wilkins Flaris has a fumble recovery, 3 INTs, an INT for a touchdown, and a safety. Oh, yeah, they bring him in the big man package, too. That's so incredible. We saw that in the previous game and this one, just so many weapons that can do it on both sides of the football.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at the size of him. I'd give him the ball every time, too, and they give it to him again.
They do. He's trying to fight on the secondary effort. There's a flag on the play. It's a touchdown for the Ravens for now. We'll see what the officials get out of this situation.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to call
something on the Ravens. They're pointing their way.
Yeah, the offensive player assisted the running back into the end zone. And
wait, you can't do that? I thought you could do that if you're pushing your teammate.
Oh, they're calling the procedure. Yeah, if you're pushing, but you can't pull, and it looked like there was a few bodies.
Oh, I can't
yanking him in.
I see what you're saying. I can't literally carry you.
No, you can't. You can't pull him from the front side of the ball.
Push, but no pull. 3:50 remains here in the first half of action. And again, just a reminder that this half is brought to you by Area 51 Sports Apparel. Area 51 Sports is the Canadian minority-owned sports apparel company that specializes in team sports. They have a dozen of suppliers which allow us to offer the customers a full array of products. Area 51 Sports Apparel offers quality, budget-friendly sports apparel and field equipment. Area 51, the sports industry's best-kept secret. Check them out at www.area51sports.ca. 2nd and 6 as the Ravens have gone, well, backwards from the 1-yard line in the 1st and goal. Domofsky fakes it to Cole Thompson. Gonna fire a laser to the near side. Caught. Touchdown, Ravens. It's Keanu Elliott on the reception from 6 yards out. And just like that, Coach McKay, with 3:25 remaining in the second quarter of play, well, it's a 3-possession lead for the Ravens.
Yeah, that was a nice little comeback route by the wide receiver. It almost looks like he wasn't quite in the end zone when he caught it, but obviously they have a better angle down there.
To your point, I don't think he was. However, when he received the ball, the ball probably crossed the plane.
Yeah, nice play nonetheless by the receiver. And the defensive end, who was putting pressure on the quarterback, put his hands up there. He might have been able to get a bit of a tip, but instead the quarterback throws the ball over his head to the waiting receiver on the comeback route.
Mateo Triffin was 9 for 9 on PATs coming into this game in the postseason. Well, he's 3 for 3 in this championship game. 21-0 is the score for the visiting Ravens, who, let's face it, not necessarily shocking if you're a Ravens fan. They beat the Peel Panthers to start off the year 51-0. The Niagara Spears 44-7. The Burlington Stampeders in a nice game, 36-11. Then they just hammered the Brantford Bisons 50-0. The Cambridge Lions 39-0. Played a thriller against the Hamilton Junior Tiger Cats 17-11. And then again hammered the Niagara Spears 41-7. Come postseason, 44-12. They annihilated the Myers Riders in the opening game of the postseason. And then 45-21 over the Stampeders. You know, I keep using this, offense sells you tickets. Even. Well, no, the Ravens are proving you the offense can win you a championship too.
That's right. And you got to think that the Junior Mustangs were well prepped to see how teams were scoring on Essex, but so far we haven't seen any results from that.
Well, to your point, the Mustangs shut out the Predators of Waterloo, the Cougars of Chatham-Kent, the Eagles of Etobicoke, and the Bisons of Brantford, but they are, well, not going to shut out the Essex Ravens today. And remember, they gave up 22 points to the Cambridge Lions in their last playoff game. Kanye Nothersall receiving this one back at his 5-yard line. Elects to go over to the left side, loses a grip on the field, down at the 18, late flag on the play.
Yeah, it looks like there might have been a face mask on that play. Nothersall at least had a bit of room to work with here. It was a deep ball, so there wasn't as much coverage by the Essex Ravens. He slipped on the turf while he was trying to make a move up. And it looks like the Essex Raven player may have got a hand in the face mask on the way down.
With 3:19 left, I don't care if it's a rouge, a safety, a field goal, but you'd prefer a major. How imperative is points for London right now?
Well, I think they would really like to get some points on the board before they go into, they're giving it to Nothersall, the face mask to Nothersall on his way down. He must have grabbed the Ravens face mask. So that's a big hit. That's half the distance to the goal line, and that's going to put them back.
You don't see that call very often.
No, you don't.
So once again, just want to thank you for joining us on Junior Mustangs TV. 2 games on your Friday evening between Waterloo and the Forest City and Chatham and Guelph. Then presented another 5 games on Saturday. You guys are crazy. Forest City versus Guelph, Brantford versus Hamilton, Vaughan versus Sudbury, Cornwall versus Hamilton, and Huronia versus Sarnia. And then today, another 5 games. Earlier, it was Waterloo versus Chatham, Hamilton versus Brantford, Myers versus Burlington. We already saw the JV game between London and Essex. This is the varsity contest. Isaac White, it goes in and out of the hands of the receiver, and a whisker away was Sonny Chandler from picking up the INT. And remember, Chandler's the one that had the blocked punt, and he kind of fell on it because he was losing his grip on the turf. He could have had a TD there, could have had a TD here.
Yeah, the receiver just ran like sort of a quick hitch, or what they call it, like a sort of an under screen, and that Essex Raven was sitting there waiting for it. That corner was there.
Salivating.
He was having nothing to do with it, and he's lucky that didn't go for 6 the other way. You know, I thought it was half the distance to the goal line, that penalty. Sadly, they were obviously just outside 15 yards, so it was a full 15-yard penalty. It took him to the 2, which kind of puts him in a tough spot.
White! Oh, it should have been intercepted. But luckily for Isaac White, it wasn't by Tayshawn French Robert.
Yeah, and again, behind those goalposts, so that's a tough throw. You got to account for those white bars in the way, and now you know what they're going to have to do with the punt team's coming out, but I think you know they're not going to punt the ball.
But, okay, I mean, the only thing I'm going to say, though, is you're already down by 3 possessions. You take the safety, it's now 4.
Yeah, but now you put them in a field position to use their momentum to come down and score 7 on you. So I might give up the 2 and just try and kick it deep and give them a full field to have to play with, just to regroup, catch our breath, and try and get back into our game.
It definitely feels like a tourniquet to a team that's bleeding out offensively. Too graphic?
Perhaps, but probably accurate.
Oh, it's always accurate. As, as the punt team's going to do exactly what Coach McKay instructed, and that's take the safety. So with 2:30 remaining here in the second quarter of play, the lead has been extended to 23-0.
Yeah, now the Junior Mustangs have a full field, and they're going to have to really shore up their defense now and give your big guys inside a chance to sort of try and stop the rush and the momentum that Essex has been building in this first half.
This half is brought to you by Barron Championship Rings, the official championship ring of Football Ontario. Barron is a focused brand, and their relentless commitment to design, craftsmanship, and superior story-driven products are what drives them to deliver the only best to their clients. For more information, visit www.barronrings.com. Again, that's www.barronrings.com. And again, thank you to the thousands of people who have joined us over the course of the weekend here on Junior Mustangs TV for all of the Ontario Summer Football League theatrics brought to you over the last 72 hours. It is the final football game of the weekend. They leave the best for last as the Ravens have a 23-0 lead with 2:30 remaining in the second quarter. Domofsky hands this one off to the near side as once again rumbling up close to the first down marker. I think that was Basic Haddon on the play.
Yeah, and the Junior Mustangs actually had that play technically cut off. It was a power, and then once he saw that closed off, he bounced it to the outside and was able to pick up a little extra yardage outside the play.
Huge attendance here at Western University for this Ontario Summer Football League Varsity A Championship. Something you love to see in the community, and I know somebody looking up from above is smiling from ear to ear.
Absolutely. And when you have two teams so close to London playing each other, these stands are going to get filled, and we have great support for football in London, and I know Windsor does as well. Here's a toss.
4 weapons to the right side, so that's where they give it to Basic Haddon. You see the attempted tackle from behind trying to spike the ball out of him was Mac Baker. Unsuccessfully, and they move the change to the Ravens. It's a first down with 2:01 left on the clock.
Mac Baker in on that play quick because he's coming from over top as a safety, so he read that and was on that in a hurry. Again, it just shows you the experience and the level of football knowledge that kid has. Oh, and some athleticism.
A little bit. 150 remains here in the opening half of play. Domofsky has 2 weapons to his right side and 2 swag to the line. Hand this one off. I think that's Basic Haddon again on the carry. Not allowed to go anywhere on this occasion, and I beg your pardon. It's Cole Thompson, actually, the big man getting the ball.
Yeah, and you know what? The defense did a better job smothering that play. They got into the backfield, disrupted the ball exchange, and was able to mess up their timing and get more bodies on the ball, but it came at a cost by the looks of it.
Number 95 is down on the field. Unfortunately, we don't have a 95 on our depth chart here, Coach. But regardless of knowing or not knowing, you don't want to see any player getting hurt in this championship tilt. $1:42 remains before the halftime break in this 23-0 affair. Coach, it ain't over till it's over. But for a team like the London Junior Mustangs, who put up 25 points in their win over the Cambridge Lions, they picked up 32 points in their final game of the regular season and a 32-14 win over the Hamilton Junior Tiger Cats. They're going to have to do a lot of damage in the second half against a team that was a league best 39 points allowed during the course of the regular season.
Yeah, the Junior Mustangs has done a bit of a better job on this series, just being able to manage their run game against Essex Ravens. Now, that may not last, and with number 95 on the turf right now, they're going to have to bring in a backup. But, if you can take the Ravens out of their game, what they've been doing all game, which is pounding the ball on them, then that gives them a bit of breathing room and hopefully win a bit of a battle of field position here going into the end of the first half.
Mother Nature helping out not only football fans, but in my opinion, the London Junior Mustangs, because let's face it, if there was a lightning storm to come at this point, and we get to the halftime break, officially you could say, oh, wave the flag, it's over.
And this gives an opportunity for a team to come back. It's nice, too. We can see some sun shining on the stands on the far side of the stadium, so that's a promising view considering what was looming overhead for a little while.
Helping their teammate off the field is Addis DeCenzo, as well as his teammate, number 64, in Isaac Butler. So I got to put yourself in the position of Greg Wilson, though. You are down 23-0. You don't even have the ball in your possession. What exactly are you telling your team at the halftime break, knowing that it's only halfway done? There's still lots of football left to be played, but not only does momentum have to change, I think approach on both the offense and defense has to change to have any success.
Well, I don't think Essex has come out with anything that they weren't expecting. I mean, they're just running power and inside zone, and I mean, I'm sure Junior Mustangs, they just need to man up and out physical.
Demoski hammered behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of about 8 or 9 yards. Number 99. I don't think it's Wayne Gretzky. I just don't have him on my chart. So watch it here off of his blind side. He never bothered looking behind him. He had 3 Mustangs trailing him.
Yeah, he was turning. He wasn't tucking that ball to keep going like he did on the touchdown, but he was looking to throw that ball. So there was a target downfield.
Timeout taken by London with a $1:22. It looks like they're trying to savor as much clock as possible, trying to garnish any points on the board they could before the halftime break.
Yep, you got the timeouts. Use them. Grab a drink. You know what? Give your boys a bit of a puff, and let's refocus on what we think Essex is going to do here, which is punt the ball. And let's now talk about what we want to do when we come out on the punt return to try and get the ball in the end zone.
Want to give a big thank you to the Football Ontario partners, including the Western Mustangs, the London Junior Mustangs, the London Beefeaters, the Forest City Thunderbirds, all for helping make this inaugural Summer Cup a true success. And as well, maybe it sounds like I'm patting myself on the back, but I've only been here for 2 games, folks. It's really for the rest of the crew. The London Junior Mustangs TV crew, an incredible job. 2 broadcasts on your Friday evening, 5 on your Saturday, 5 on your Sunday. You guys are truly insane. 12 games of football over the course of 72 hours.
Now, my guess is they're going to punt the ball away from Mac Baker, so let's see where it's going here. Almost blocked.
Almost. To your point, they do try to avoid Baker. It takes a bit of a bad hop and then bunny hopping off of the arms of Noah Amaral. And, well, Amaral went in the wrong direction, back to his 19-yard line.
Yeah, Mac Baker needed to pick up that block on the first defender that was coming down the field, but missed him, and he was the first one in the play to get the tackle. And then it was a sea of black in behind him.
Can you talk about the double-edged sword that the London Junior Mustangs are facing right now, knowing that their field positioning is back at their 19-yard line? They only have a $1:11 on the clock. However, the more you try and gamble down the field, the more you're giving a chance for the Ravens to take it right back.
Yeah, they want at least a single first down here, but so they can chew some time off the clock. But you know what? They're going to try and get some momentum. The Ravens are, well, it doesn't look like they're coming out of their regular defensive package here, so they're going to just play the way they've been playing, which has been working.
Junior Mustangs go to the run game. On this gander, it'll be Nazwa Owal, or Owiwali.
That's Nawaz Oyewale, and I know that because he's a running back for the Banting Broncos.
Okay. Well, you get some name dropping in. Buck 06
right.
remains in this first half of action, so it was the Banting Bronco product getting the last gander for 2 yards on a 2nd and 8 coming up. Isaac White, a bit of a stagnant start to this championship game, but like you said, is not really the position to start lighting up some matches. Instead, they're going to go back to the run game.
Yeah, they're keeping it safe. They ran a pod motion there with their receivers, but they don't end up throwing it. They run pod and just run, looks like an inside zone on it. So they're playing it safe right now for sure.
This time they go to a Kanye Nothersall, and you know what? Essex, just as equally game as London is. Glenn Mills calls a timeout, forcing London to punt the ball away with 45 seconds stuck on the clock. So if you recall, there was 1 minute and 11 seconds. So quick math here. They burned all of 26 seconds on those last 3-and-out plays, and the Ravens get the ball back regardless.
Yeah, that's not what Junior Mustangs wanted. Again, they wanted at least one first down to move the clock. And, you know, if you can get some momentum and one quick strike, then that's a bonus. But they wanted to definitely move away from their defensive zone.
Nicholas Demoski ended the first quarter of play with a 5-yard touchdown gallop. The PAT was good for a 7-0 game. With 8:13 remaining here in the second quarter, Kobe Ginn reeled in a 35-yard catch, a beautiful one indeed from Demoski, 14-0. Then a 6-yard TD catch on a bit of a slant back by Elliott on the near side. To your point, maybe he didn't catch it in the end zone, but the ball broke the plane, makes it 21-0. And to make matters worse, London's offense got stuck near their own end zone, forced to concede the safety, brought it up to 23-0 with 2:30 left. And now, with less than a minute to go in the opening half, the Ravens get the ball back with a 4-possession lead.
Yeah, the junior Mustangs are going to wish for a really good kick here to give them some field position and a little bit of breathing room.
This one's booted away, flag on the play with Braden Vivard getting it down to midfield. Back the other way is Kobe Ginn. Ginn down the near sidelines, pushed out of bounds around the 37.
I wouldn't have kicked to that guy.
Yeah, he's already burned you, well, at least in the air for 35 yards, but he's had some healthy returns, not just in the course of this game, but throughout the rest of the regular season.
Essex was smart, though. They lined him up to the boundary side, and that's where you want to try and get it. You want to get the ball on the short side of the field so he doesn't have as much room to run. And he just happened to be on that side. And you know what? That kid can make something out of nothing, so he's a heck of an athlete.
Out of the 17 touchdowns thrown by Domovsky, 7 were reeled in by Kobe Ginn and 5 were reeled in by Darius France. So there's 12 of your 17 right there.
35 seconds remaining in the first half on the 40-yard line.
Just a reminder about Quest Awards. They've specialized in producing high-quality patent plaques, corporate awards, sports awards, promotional items, and giftware utilizing the power and precision of laser engraving and advanced computer technology. They take great pride in quality workmanship that goes into the product and deliver for every product we ship. As going deep is Domovsky. Kobe Ginn's open. It's caught. Touchdown, Ravens. Kobe Ginn running away with this one. His second touchdown of the game. This one from 40 yards out.
Yeah, Zach Hepburn was on coverage on that play, and he got beat down the sideline.
Kobe Ginn, I don't know if they're already starting to engrave his name, our Quest Awards, but I think he's already at least got the offensive play. He might have the MVP of this game.
Yeah, that kid is he's able to do a lot. You get him into space, and he's going to make you pay. So, you know, they're going to have to look at considering, I don't know if they're going to maybe double him, but they're going to have to definitely pay a little more attention over top on him because he's damaging for sure.
Our boy Ross behind is going to run out of fingers for all the rings he's collecting over this time. Every time he comes to London, he gets another ring. He's like Thor. Get out of here, Thor. Is it Thor? What's the one that collects all the rings? I'm not a comic book guy.
Nor am I.
No.
Nor am
the
I.
Marvel character, though. He's the guy that got all the jewelry.
Yeah, it works, though. He looks good on him.
And every time he comes to the Forest City, he adds to the jewelry case.
You're right. He should go away.
The PAT is good. It's a 30-0 ball game. 5-yard scamper from Domovsky. 35-yard and 40-yard catches from Kobe Ginn. Throw in a 6-yard catch from Elliott. It's been pure domination in this opening half of football. If you are the London Junior Mustangs, is there a beep on the heart monitor for the second half, or are we starting to flatline here?
Well, you know what? It's going to depend on what those coaches on the sideline do at halftime when they take him in, right? I mean, how do you manage this? You're down 30. But you have a whole half of football to play.
Well, and remember, the whole first quarter, they really didn't allow any score. Domovsky got the touchdown on the final play of the first quarter. They get 3 majors and a safety in just the second Q alone.
Yeah, sometimes when it rains, it pours, and the momentum just was definitely rolling downhill for Essex in that half or that quarter.
Kanye Nothersall rushes this one between the hash marks up to the 30-yard line. But this is the exact same position London was on their last drive, where sure, you have the ball on your side of the turf, but you don't really have enough time to get sketchy and go downfield deep with threats, knowing that the Essex defense is eager for more INTs.
Yeah. I would just run inside zone here, let the whistle go and then let the clock run down and try and get out of this quarter without any more damage, right? Lick your wounds at half, pump the team up and make them believe that there's an opportunity to come back from this. Essex Ravens, they're going to do the opposite. They're going to just pedal to the metal, keep things going and doing what we're doing, and they're doing it well.
Instead, it's a handoff, flea flicker, thrown down the field, incomplete pass. The intended target on the play was Tyler Tierney. I watched Tyler Tierney catch a triple overtime touchdown in the playoffs last time for the St. Andre Passett Bulldogs in the snow. That was the same game we were talking about earlier in the day.
That's right. He's now a Banting Bronco, actually.
What?
He came over 2 years ago and played for us last year.
You and your recruiting.
Yeah. I think he just heard that
been
the
watching
academics at the school.
You just watch Junior Mustangs TV and then tell people to go to Branting the next year. Is that it?
Yeah, had he caught the ball, though, he would have gashed it and gone. No one was catching him if he caught it.
18 seconds left on the second quarter clock. 3 run to the line. Back is Isaac White, protected well in the pocket. Throws this one to an open target who caught it. I thought he should have ran out of bounds. Instead, he stays in. Noah Amaral with the reception. Now, in Canadian football, at least the clock stops until the ball is set and the official blows the whistle.
Correct. And I think Junior Mustangs have a timeout left, so I don't know why they're not. Oh, there it is.
Yes, yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there.
What are you taking so long for? Let's call that.
So is it safe to say you take a shot now?
Well, clearly they're taking a shot. I mean, otherwise they would have just run the ball a couple times, run the clock out. So they were trying to create some offense, which, you know what? Again, just try and build yourself some momentum going into half. My guess is they'll take a shot here and try and get something out of it. But Essex, they're going to be ready for it. They'll have guys in prevent over top and making sure that doesn't happen.
So don't go anywhere, folks. In about 11 seconds, I'm going to kick Coach McKay out and get Coach Spedigue in just for his thoughts on, well, the Essex Ravens season as a whole and what his thoughts for the first half of action is. The legendary voice of the Essex region. Well, they call it the City of Roses. It doesn't smell like roses when I go there, though. No.
That's Detroit, though.
Oh, okay. That's the quaff over the river. I get it. And to your point, first time I've seen these lights turn on, and, man, those bad boys cook early.
Yeah, and they're bright. And I guess they can do a pretty good light show with them, too, not just white but multiple colors. So 2022 has hit the Western Stadium.
Only 30 years late.
Oh, they're going to Tierney in space.
To Tierney for the first down, and there's still time.
Yep.
So with 6 seconds left, they're at the Ravens' 48-yard line. It would have to be something really silly by the Ravens' defense in order to allow points on the board here. I'd be in cover 7 right now if that was an option.
Yeah, 2 rushers and everyone over top.
So thanks again for joining us on Junior Mustangs TV. This is the A championship between the AAA varsity champion programs of the London Junior Mustangs and the Essex Ravens, the best of the best. They left it for last. As Isaac White, probably the final play of this half, has a receiver deep in and out of the hands of a potential Raven that could have pulled the ball away. That was Tylen Davis. Now, Tylen Davis over the course of the regular season, no slouch. 4 interceptions to lead the team, 21 total tackles in 8 games.
Yeah, he probably wants that one back because that one should have been an easy INT. But, funny enough, the Junior Mustang player got just behind him, and if that ball tipped off the Essex Ravens player's
or
fingers
if the ball
any
was
differently,
thrown just a little.
Yeah, he almost had one broken there. So.
And one thing I've loved since calling the 110th Yates Cup, where the Laurier Golden Hawks came back in thrilling fashion with a field goal down by 21 in the second half. Tom Brady. Well, what did they do? They got the field goal with decimals left on the clock. And I was like, there's not decimals in football. And yet, here we go. Yeah. 0.6 on the clock from Western. Last play, if there's no penalties. Isaac White, receiver spinning around. And plink goes off and incomplete. That caps off the first half of action. As it looks like joining me in the broadcast booth is going to be the legend himself in Ross Spedigue. Coach, I got to be honest with you. It was probably a little disappointing for you watching the junior varsity game where your team was up 6-0 and they lost 29-6. However, we flipped the script here early in the varsity game. It's a dominant 30-0 showing.
Well, Johnny, to be honest with you, I think the Ravens were in real trouble once they lost their quarterback. And
Nate Rocheleau, yeah.
Yeah, Nate Rocheleau. He's a tremendous quarterback. And, sort of it's the heart and soul of the team. And once you lose him, it was unfortunate he went out. But, hey, don't take anything away from the Junior Mustangs. They were a full measure for the win. And it was a great win. They actually, until the last part of the game, it was a pretty close game.
The entire fourth quarter was really the difference maker of that one.
Exactly.
And I want to give a big compliment to the Junior Varsity Essex Raven Rakowski, who came in for Rocheleau. And let's face it, a lot of football critics at halftime probably weren't giving the Ravens any chance. He not only was doing it with his arms, his legs, he was even booting field goals. He had a 24-yarder to tie the game up at 9-9.
And you got to give him all the credit in the world, but he doesn't get the reps, of course, during the week. So, of course, he's not quite in sync with the receivers as much as Nate was. So that was hurtful. But I think the varsity Ravens, at least to this point, I mean, Coach Mills is going to tell him it's 0-0. And but he believes his defense is the strength of his team. And he's fortunate one way. He loses only 7 players off this team. So they should be pretty good next year as well, Johnny. And the thing is, too, this Demowski, he's being banged on by a lot. He's the second fastest guy on the team.
17 touchdowns in the regular season to lead the league.
And he's not small. He's about 6'2", 210 pounds. And, you know, he's a leader. The kids love him. But he's going back to Bell River High School. And he's got the marks to go to university. I don't know, but, but he's got some guys with him from Bell River, like Trefon, number 87, our tight end, who does our kicking. And so pretty good contingent from that school. And, of course, I love Colby Ginn.
Well, 2 touchdowns in this game, 35-yarder and a 40-yarder. Those deep gashes burn you in so many different ways.
And he's tiny. He's not very big at all. He's minuscule. I said, aren't you nervous out there? He says, no. I said, well, good for you, Colby, because I'm nervous for you. But, it's funny because I compare when on TV, I do the broadcast back there and there. I made it very clear he's not related to Ted Ginn, a former Ohio State player. He loved that.
He played for the Panthers, did he not, in the NFL?
I believe so.
That's
yes.
right.
And so. But
I got to ask you this question, though, Ross.
Sure.
At what point of this season for the varsity squad did you realize, okay, this team has what it takes to win the entire OSFL championship? When you consider they started off with a 51-0 drubbing over the Peel Panthers, 44-7 over the Niagara Spears. But was it that Burlington game where they won 36-11?
That was key, but the big game to me was when they played the Hamilton Junior Tiger Cats, coached by Rob Underhill, who's a heck of a good coach. And they were in tough all game, but fought through it. And I think that was sort of the watershed for them and made sure the rest of the season was going to be – they cruised pretty well the rest of the season.
Now, no rest for the wicked. Last thoughts on this particular game. What do the Ravens have to do other than, continue their defensive dominance in order to pull out the inaugural Varsity A championship here in London? And what is it with you Ravens flying down to London and always flying away with championships?
Well, it's just sort of a natural thing. We just love doing that. And we love London. We love coming to London. Of course, Johnny, I'm a hometown
You're a
guy.
homer, that's right.
I'm home, and I went to Western, so I love London. And I even went to the Waltzing Weasel for supper before the game.
Okay.
So what happens is I think they have to be focused the second half and no limit turnovers. Turnovers will kill you, but they've all got to be careful because don't let those receivers for London get behind you.
Last question for you, Ross, and I hate to kind of leave you on a somber note, but, this weekend's been all possible because of a gentleman named KJ Kennemy, who's sadly not with us anymore. I think of the junior varsity team winning that championship for Coach Jay, and I know this is a tough one to swallow if you're a London Junior Mustangs fan, down 30-0 at half. Hey, anything's still possible, but more so than the games, more so than the championships. Can you talk about what KJ meant not only to you, but to the sport of football here in Ontario?
KJ was a good friend of Glenn Mills, very close. And I had talked to him the Tuesday before they were supposed to come down because I wanted to do an interview at halftime with KJ. And I was not. And he said, Ross, I'm not feeling well, but I'm going to the doctor, but I'll come home and call you. So he said, sure, I'll do the And then, of course, I got the news Thursday. He came up for the ceremony, the tribute. And we're still upset about that because he was so great, not only for London football, which is true, all of London football at every level, as you know, Johnny, but throughout the province, he was loved and respected. And his loss is incalculable. You just can't measure the loss of KJ Kennemy. He was just one of the most wonderful people I was fortunate to know in my life. I miss him totally, and it's interesting that this game is in honor of him, and they've got 2 Raven coaches because Greg Wilson played for the Ravens, and he's coaching the junior Mustangs.
That's right. Wow, what a connection.
And his brother, Luke, who played for the Seahawks, spoke to both teams before the game.
Won a Super Bowl.
And he's got some bling, too. And so what happens is that was great, but everybody's paying such respect to Jason Kennemy because he's a legend and will always be a part of football in London and the province in my mind.
I thought I'd be dreaming before I saw the day where Glenn Mills was wearing a purple shirt, but the respect he showed by wearing a purple shirt at KJ's service just shows you the respect that those two had for each other.
Absolutely.
Ross, thank you so much for joining us in this championship game. One of these days you're going to have to give me one of these rings on your hand here.
I'm going to bring you a Ravens t-shirt for sure.
Okay, all right.
I'll get you that, but always great to spend time with you, Johnny.
All right, but the third time. The next time when I call Ravens champ, you going to throw me on the ring list too then?
Maybe I'll do
All right.
that too.
Ross, thanks for having us.
Take good care, Johnny.
Appreciate it. Don't go anywhere, fans. It looks like we are going to have another special interview coming up here, and why not? We got one legend coming out. We got another legend coming in. No rest for the wicked for this broadcaster, and oh my word, she's all polished up here. It is the Ontario Summer Football League Provincial Championship, and my word, what does it feel to have this? I was just talking with Ross. It looks like he's half away from getting one of these in his own right. But, you coached the junior varsity squad to pull this out, and especially in the fashion that you did this year, knowing that you never lost a game on the turf.
Well, it was a team effort all the way around. There we go. Let's put this back up here. It was a team effort all the way around. The coaches, the players, everybody grinded. Everybody really did a great job of coming together, and to have Michelle present the trophy to us at the end of the game was, really emotional and really, really special. I'm just, I'm a humble bystander along for this ride, so it's been a heck of a ride for me, and it's really nice to go out this way.
I said this before the broadcast began, that win or lose, there was going to be somebody smiling from football heaven as to what was transpiring here today, because you have communities from all across the beautiful province of Ontario joining us here in the Forest City. Ron, you were a part of the last 72 hours of insane coverage that the Junior Mustangs TV has been a part of, including the Friday night where we had the Waterloo team take on the Forest City squad and Chatham take on Guelph. Oh, yeah, you did another 5 games yesterday, including Sandy Ruxtall Cup action and KJ Kedemi Memorial Cup action. Yeah. And as a result, we coupled that with another 5 broadcasts today before you went off and won this beautiful championship in my hand. Well, you actually called a thrilling broadcast between Myers and Burlington, which came down to a game-winning field goal. So back to my point of, Coach Jay back in the sky looking down on us right now. It's been a beautiful weekend and something that we all know he would put together.
Yeah, this really, the volunteers, the effort of everybody to put this together has been next level. KJ would have been so very proud of everybody and all of us, and I really thank KJ and everybody involved with allowing me to come into your homes and be part of a small little football thing that we had an idea about 6-7 years ago about starting our own thing. And Johnny, I remember the first year I was here doing a broadcast on Rogers.
Remember MSN Radio? We were doing things. We were streaming games to Michigan, and we were doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, we were doing all kinds of funky things, and how it all happened for me was somebody couldn't quite make it, and Ron, can you fill in for a half? He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll get going, and for me, it's been a heck of a journey, a heck of a ride. 25 years in, 40 seasons. And nice way to go out for me.
Absolutely. Ron, congratulations on the Junior Varsity OSFL inaugural championship, too. Does it have a good, little ring when it's the inaugural one?
Yeah, it really does. This is not the first time I've been part of a championship. I was with the London Falcons before the Mustangs were the London Falcons. I was able to win 2 of those. But being the first... being the first winner of a championship, being the first winner of something like that, it's very, very special. It's great. I'd be remiss if I didn't, put a shout out to all the effort of the great coaches on all the levels, on all the levels for all the teams. This is a really emotional day for us in particular because of everything that's happened. But this is kind of, a conversation you and I are having. The real champions out there are the players, win or lose.
Absolutely.
Okay, win or lose. They have all come together and they have battled and they have put the work in since February and March and been on the field since April. It has been such a long grind for a lot of these players, a lot of these coaches, and a lot of the volunteers. And they don't get enough shout-outs.
Both these teams undefeated over the course of 2022, but somebody has to go here today. Ron, before I let you go as we get into the second half of action, I know I'm time crunching on something we could talk hours about, but I do want your thoughts on KJ Kenemy. This has been an incredible weekend of football, but I mean, it didn't matter if it was women's flag football, esports gaming, junior tyke Adam football, or varsity on the other side of the spectrum. We covered it all because that's what KJ would have wanted.
Yeah, and he had such a big heart and such a wonderful man. And I've said this a number of times before. I've in my life I've never met a better human being than KJ, and he will be sorely missed. But you look at this weekend, and pardon my language, that's a hell of a legacy. Put
Absolutely.
together by our very dear friend.
And it looks like Matt Schneider, my fellow Reds fans, has brought me some wings. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that. No, I'm not going to steal your championship food. I will give you this championship trophy back, though, Mr. Ferwarda, in exchange for your microphone. Thank you so much, good sir. As again, that was Ron Ferwarda, part of the coaching staff of the Junior Mustangs Junior Varsity Program, which did win the OSFL championship prior to this one. Now we're into the varsity side of things, and it's a 30-0 game at the halftime break as our main girl, Stephanie Melrose, went the extra mile and got us some actual names to match the numbers. Yeah, there was only about 6 or 7 missing off of our list. And go figure, Coach, those 6 and 7 are usually the ones that end up making an impact. So after having Ross Spedigu, as well as Ron Ferwarda, the Essex Ravens and the London Junior Mustangs legends, respectfully, at halftime, I'm rejoined by the Broncos legend of Banting and Coach McKay.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have some names now to call out, but I've been thinking about what the Junior Mustangs have to do to turn this game around, and
a lot.
There's a few things. There's a few things.
Can you name some, please?
Well, I think I would start by just trying to run a little play action and throw the ball over the middle of the field. I mean, they're committing so much to the box on the run that they're stopping the run very effectively, but. If they can draw them in with a little play action and just start to hit them in the zone in the middle of the field with some passes, I think that would help to generate a little bit of momentum and get the ball into space. They have the athletes in the receiver position, and they're just not getting the ball to them.
The Essex Ravens had 3 shutouts in the regular season, beating the Peel Panthers 51-0, the Brantford Bisons 50-0, and the Cambridge Lions 39-0. In fact, the game against the Lions happened in their barn at Jacob Hespler Secondary School, a 39-0 road victory. And yet at halftime, in the championship, 30-0 over London, a team which hasn't lost in 2022.
Yeah.
I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, they're going to have to decommit to trying to pound the ball inside. Essex is just a little bit too big and strong for that compared to all their other opponents. So, halftime corrections.
I absolutely agree with you. They haven't attacked the middle of the field, especially with the aerial assaults. However, I'm sure that Tylen Davis is playing a little bit of a factor in that, knowing that he had 4 interceptions in the regular season to lead the team. Oh, yeah, he's already had, I think, 1 or 2 go off the oven mitt in this one.
Yeah, and I mean, those were rather errant passes for sure. I mean, the one he was in the right spot, made a great play, but the other ones were sort of in a scramble and desperation. So, you know what? Force him to make big plays. I mean, you can't not try and make big plays because you're afraid of other people trying to make big plays on you. So they got to go for it in the second half. They got to put it all on the line.
Ravens, Mustangs, second half of action. It's all right now on Junior Mustangs TV. Kanye Nothersall takes this on a one-hop, back at his 3-yard line, sprints over to the left side, hits traffic around the 18. Late flags flying in here. More flags than a UN meeting.
Yeah, someone's going to get a penalty for shoving.
Ooh, not shoving.
Yeah, you don't like to shove in football, but let's see if it goes against the Junior Mustangs or against the Ravens. I think there was a bit of might be some offsetting penalties here because they're shoving on both sides of the ball, but we'll see.
Quick reminder that if you're watching us here on Junior Mustangs TV, don't be afraid to hit the like and subscribe button. Coach McKay likes you, so like him too.
I love the like button. Push it.
There is no love button. 11:53 remains here in the third quarter of action, and again, 30-0. Stranger things have happened in the sport of football, though, Coach. That's all I'll say.
Oh, yeah. Has anyone come back from 30 down before? I think they have.
I couldn't name one off the top of my head. I can name one that's come back from 24 in this very stadium. That was the Laurier Golden Hawks during a Yates Cup championship, and that all took place in the second half of action. And I can think of one on a bigger scale where Tom Brady won it in overtime.
That's right, in February.
Inside, might I add. So Isaac White keeps it himself. No, I apologize. That's not Isaac White. Out of the backfield was number 12 on that play. Come on, no way. We don't have a 12. So our lovely Stephanie Melrose did a great job of getting us numbers 90 to 99. That's not in the 90s.
Nope, it was a few short of that. But, they tried to make a nice outside run there when trying to wrap the ball. And one of the Essex Ravens broke through and was able to chase down the ball carrier from behind.
You know what? Junior Mustangs fans are going to hate me for saying this, but it's true. You weren't prepared to give us depth charts, and you don't look prepared on the field either.
I'll leave that one alone.
Okay, 11 minutes remaining. You're just going to let me sink on that one. Okay. As this is a sinking play back at the 10-yard line. Things are going from bad to worse here, Coach.
Yep. Yeah, it looked like they were trying to run a counter there, and the W. No, it was the running back got in the way of the exchange.
Something you said before this drive was I would stay away from trying to pound the paint up the middle, considering it hasn't worked so far, and try and change my repertoire with my offense. Well, no, they didn't do that, and it's the same result.
In fairness, they were trying to run the ball outside a little bit more than they were before, but again, that didn't work. That Essex Ravens defensive line and linebacking core is just getting through and wreaking havoc in the backfield, which is messing up timing big time for the J-Stangs.
So down 30-0. Do you concede another safety?
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, you do.
See, this is where, God bless you, Jay. I kind of wish you were here just for these moments. We would have little arguments, little tiffs and taffs about well, no, you don't do that because you're down by 30. And he would tell me, no, John, you got to play the percentages.
Yeah,
that's what you're going to tell me,
30
right?
versus 32 is only a 2-point difference, but the field position makes up a lot of importance in the game.
To me, you times 32 by 0, and it's still 0, though.
You might be right.
And my mom went to Banting, by the way, so she's a Bronco. Okay, shout outs to that. There's a tiny family
There you
connection.
go. There you go.
Tiny
Have to
is
get
the
her a
family.
shirt.
There we go. Yeah,
We're having a homecoming this fall,
Okay.
October the 6th. So shameless plug.
Hey, maybe Junior Mustangs TV will be there.
There you
Who
go.
knows? Who knows? Well, I'm sure Adam didn't want to hear me say that, but after doing 15 games of football in the last 72 hours, a little tired of the pigskin, I'd imagine. 4 weapons to the right side. Domofsky fires it. It's caught. Not a lot of real estate. Pretty much 0 yards after the catch, but that didn't matter. Still a second down play as Basic hadn't. We've seen both him as well as the other running back out of the backfield, and Cole Thompson also off of those kind of slot passes to the right side.
Yeah, they're just running a little out from into the flat there, and the linebacker or the slot or the halfback was on him in a hurry to make the tackle for a 3-yard gain.
And if I'm a Ravens fan, I like this offense. Why? Because the clock keeps moving.
Yep. The clock can be your friend or your worst enemy, depending on what situation you're in.
It's turning into the high school bully of the London Junior Mustangs here in the second half. Domofsky, blitz coming, has to get rid of it. It's a halfback screen to Cole Thompson. What a beautiful play call by Glenn Mills. They're going to pick up 15 yards to move the chains.
That was great timing. They were coming with some pressure, and that's exactly what they wanted.
32-0 is the score here from the Forest City on your Sunday evening. Thanks for joining us here on Junior Mustangs TV. I don't know how many Waterloo and Forest City fans are left from the opening game at 5:30 p.m. on Friday. However, after another 12 games of football after that, we thank the thousands of people who joined in from across the provinces, the aunts, the uncles, the grandmas, the grandpas, and just the family friends that want to see their kid kick some butt in football. Domofsky, handoff, Cole Thompson. It takes about 4 Mustangs to pull this kid down every play. If there's just 1 or 2 hands on him, they're like hooves. They're not grabbing anything.
Yeah, you better have him bracketed with a couple of defenders because he's so shifty. He's getting off of a lot of initial tackles and making some yards.
I don't know if you caught what Ross Spedigue said at the halftime break. Glenn Mills loses a total of 7 of these players going into next season. This is a team that could truly repeat.
Wow. So they're all grade 11s or they're all grade 12s? Because you can play as a grade 13, but they limit the amount that do play. So if these guys are grade 11s, that's going to be a powerhouse juggernaut next year down there.
And Domofsky, once again, has now 4 weapons to the right side, 3 running the line. Faked the pitch, but there was nobody there. A bit of a broken play. Domofsky trying to make something out of nothing. Crosses the line of scrimmage. Has the first down and more. This kid can rumble. Up to the 35, past the 30, through to the 25, down at the 22. So Domofsky goes from his 55, a 30-yard scamper. He just kept going and going and going further into Mustangs territory.
And good for him. The J-Stangs had him dead for rights on that front side, and then he just kept bouncing back and back and back and found the seam and went. He's a heck of an athlete too, I'd say.
Not throwing any dust in the face of Greg Wilson, who, by the way, played for the Essex Ravens. A little bit of a catchy thing going on there. And his brother, Luke, well, he won a Super Bowl with Seattle, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
But, man, oh, man, it'd be interesting, in my personal opinion, to see what sort of different strategies have been happening over the last couple weeks compared to the beginning half when Coach KJ Kennemy was, bossing this team around.
Well, I would imagine their OC would be their OC still. And
True.
it's,
I just want to know that has any techniques changed or any strat. Essentially, what I'm getting at, Coach McKay, is would the score still be 32-0?
Yeah.
Or would there be some differences here and there? Or are we just dealing, as Ross Pettigrew was kind of just saying, with a potential dynasty of a team here that's developing before our very eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the J-Stangs are just trying to kind of fit a square peg into a round hole with what they're used to doing, and I think they've just sort of stuck to the game plan they've had all season, and the Essex Ravens just isn't allowing it to happen, which is to their, their respect that they're able to play like this against a great team.
Domofsky quickly pitches this over to the right side. I believe that's Cole Thompson again on the catch and carry. In fact, when he caught it, Coach, he needed another about 10 yards for the first down, and what do you know? He got it. Unbelievable for a guy that averaged 11.1 yards per carry in the regular season.
Yeah, and they wanted to get him into space there with that little bubble pass, and I mean, they did. They got him into space, and then he can make things happen once he gets there.
Big shout-outs to the fans staying in the stands here at Western University in a 32-0 game with under 6 to go in the third quarter. Been in plenty of contests where people are already heading towards the exit doors.
Yeah, no one wants to walk away just in case, and they're great supporters. I mean, look at all the purple over there. They're going to stick it out and watch their kids and their friends play. It's a great night for football.
So number 12 on the defense is Schaefer, and on the offense is Siebold for the London Junior Mustangs. As Domofsky has a target at the back of the end zone. Incomplete pass. Just getting in the grill of the offensive player was number 8.
Yeah, that was a nice play. I mean, a little corner route, which again is one of the toughest routes to cover as a defenseman. And the ball was well thrown. There just happened to be some good coverage there, and the receiver did not come down with the ball.
Well, I hadn't seen Domofsky play, I'll be perfectly frank, up until today, but I knew a kid that threw 1,217 yards, 17 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions over the course of 9 games. Oh, yeah, and he also added 4 rushing touchdowns. Had to be pretty good.
Yeah, I would say. Sign that kid.
So 5:05 remains here on the third quarter clock. The Essex Ravens looking to add to their 32-0 lead. Weapons to the left side. In fact, Domofsky looked like he faked the handoff to Thompson and then kept it and gets pushed into the spin cycle by the Mustangs defensive line.
I'm not sure if it was a broken play. I think he was actually just trying to read the flow of the defense before he decided whether to hand it off.
Like an RPO situation?
Yeah. It was a little bit more delayed than you would typically expect, but it didn't turn out too bad. I mean, they got stuffed. It was getting stuffed anyway, so here we go. Third down.
London coming off of a 25-22 victory on this field back on July 22nd over the Cambridge Lions to get to this championship game, whereas the Essex Ravens were in Windsor, also at Alumni Field, ironically enough, but this one's at the University of Windsor kind. And that's where they beat the Burlington Stampeders 45-21. In fact, a week prior to that, they beat the Myers Riders 44-12. So they really haven't faced any adversity in the postseason, and they don't really seem to be facing anything here in the championship.
No, I think we said that it would be a clash of titans here today, and it's definitely not turning out to be that right now.
So kind of a respectful thing to do when you think about it. With 4:36 remaining, with the third down play coming up, they just kicked the field goal.
Yep, and they're just going to inch forward. 3 points at a time is, it is a classy way to play the game at this stage.
So it's 35-0. Again, there was a safety thrown in there, one of many safeties. Well, 2, I should say, in this game. That's too many for my opinion, but it is what it is.
I like what you did there.
With 4:36 remaining, the hourglass just seems that much slower if you're a London Junior Mustangs fan right now. And what's sad, too, is you think back to that late second quarter. You know, if they just got a spark going, some points, a field goal attempt, anything to get the crowd into it, you think they'd have a little more momentum to ride on here?
Well, and it would have kept Essex off the board as well, right? And they got Tierney lined up on a small corner here with a good mismatch. I'm not sure why they're not trying to find him, but.
And we actually don't see the starting QB, Isaac White, at the helm. Instead, it's number 12 instead.
That's Cameron Saybold. He as well as a Bantam Bronco, so he's the backup quarterback for the J-Stangs. So I think they're just trying to switch things up a little bit and see if they can get a spark going with a different player.
Well, sweet sugar honey iced tea. Give me some scouting report then on Saybold, knowing that you've been in this quarterback's mind before.
Right. Well, he's going to Laurier, and I think he's going to redshirt with Laurier this year at quarterback. This kid could play any position on the field. And
is Fold still the head coach at Laurier?
He is, yep.
Not a bad guy to learn from.
Doing a nice job out there. And you wanted that one.
Incomplete pass, trying to target number 9, Ethan Doby, on the near hash mark with 3:30 remaining. And we are in blitz time, as they would call it in youth football, because of the score differential. The clock just keeps running here at Western University.
Oh, it's a 35-point differential for that then.
Which, I mean, you do and you don't like, right? Because at some point, if you're a London fan, you're like, well, give me every last second because I need it.
Right.
But you also had to earn those seconds, and you really haven't over the first 2 quarters plus of football here today.
Yeah, and the rule is a good one because it's designed to keep teams from blowing teams out by too much, right? And, you don't want to demoralize a team. But, yeah, it makes it difficult to come back from if you have a possibility of doing that.
As this one's going to roll down, picked up by Kobe Ginn. Flag on the play. Ginn finds space through the 45. Another illegal block set down. This won't count as a touchdown, even though Ginn might get there. Ginn forced out of bounds around the, 14-yard line, but this play should be coming all the way back to the Ravens' 50.
Yeah, and definitely going to get a block in the back on the first one. And I'm not sure if the second one will count, as it was a kind of more of a crackback block that they're trying to prevent in the league these days. So we'll see if they're getting 30 on that or 15.
And going back to your comment about, not letting games get too out of hand, this still is a team that won 51-0 in their first game of 2022 over the Peel Panthers. They won 50-0 over the Brantford Bisons back on Sunday, June 12th. And they beat the Cambridge Lions in their nest 39-0 at Jacob Hesler Secondary School. My point being is that it's a 35-0 game against the London Junior Mustangs. The London Junior Mustangs, Coach McKay, are not the Peel Panthers, the Brantford Bisons, or the Cambridge Lions of 2022 on the varsity side. They are a team that did not lose a game on the field, and yet almost a similar result. It's scary.
Yeah, no, Essex has came to play for sure, and they're able to sort of control the game the way they want to. And the Mustangs are simply not able to run the game the way they want to. And, Essex is dominating on multiple facets of the game for sure.
I like what Ross said, too, at the halftime break. Sorry to keep name-dropping him here, but one thing he talked about was Mills will come out of the halftime break and tell him it's a 0-0 scoreboard. And I think that's something Greg Marshall of the Western Mustangs likes to do, too, especially, week 2, week 3, when they're dominating the York Lions and Varsity Blues by 40 points. It's a lot easier just to set up your troops and say, hey, it's a brand-new ball game. Forget about the score. Go back to work. Right.
Yeah, because otherwise what happens is you start to get lenient in the way you play, and that's when people get injured, or that's when your focus and your energy starts to drop.
Yeah,
and
true.
Yeah, you don't learn anything. You're not getting better. So yeah, you have to treat it that way, and sometimes it's at the opponent's peril.
So remember I said it was going to go back around their 50?
Yeah, it was.
I lied.
Yeah, it was a double penalty. That was a 30-yarder there.
So Demoski, all the way back at his 10-yard line, has Kobe Ginn scooting over to that far side. The ball's fumbled away. Demoski just got back to it down at his 1-yard line. He avoids the safety by about half a yard. Some pushing and shoving after the play.
Well, it's a good thing he got his hands on the ball, because otherwise that was going to be 6 points for the Junior Mustangs. So
that was the spark that London needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see what they do with it here, though.
Well, true, it's still a spark, but I guess more so what I was saying, it would have been the flame than they needed if they had gotten that touchdown on the fumble recovery.
Exactly.
Because let's face it, you needed a big play, something to really change up the momentum, and that was almost it right there.
Yeah, but like you said, tough to come back from when the clock is running.
Now, they score, though, and bring it back. I think the time stops again, does it
That's
not?
correct.
Yeah.
It should go back to normal.
Okay. Well, then it goes back. This is huge. Are they going to blitz? They are. Domofsky hands this one off.
Oh, you have to keep him in. There we go.
And just getting out is, I think, basic Hayden. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What a carry.
Yeah, nice move.
When you consider his original contact probably took place at the 1 yard line. And like you said, they had him boxed in momentarily. He scooted out to the left side.
And he actually had to run into the end zone to get around the edge. So nice play by him, and very athletic play to get around that edge and get some yards for something.
Now, you have a shutout here. But do you still play the field position battle and take the safety to break your own goose egg off the board? Do you do that?
Yeah, well, you're going to put Western and Jay Stings in a good field position to make a play. So
You keep the shutout. I knew Glenn
they're
Mills was
going.
going to go for that.
Here we go.
Received back at the 48-yard line, skipping past the tackle at the 40, scampering up to the 30, past the 25, dipsy doodles out at the 18. That was number 13, Mac Baker. Your boy, sometimes.
That does put a lot of show that the coach puts a lot of confidence into their defense to punt that ball out.
London's got to recognize that the clock's not in their favor. It's continuing to wind down despite the fact in a normal situation it wouldn't be.
Right, they got to go.
So this is potentially now the final play of the third quarter, which really burns the Junior Mustangs. They could have got at least 3 plays in the final 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're not going to give up a timeout in that situation, but you definitely want to get your troops coordinated a little bit faster, get to the line and run a play.
I don't think they recognize the fact that the clock was doing that
You
to
might
them.
be right.
2 run to the line. Isaac White hands this one off to Kanye Nothersaw, who's trying to shut off of a couple tackles. The Ravens swarm them. It's a gain of maybe 2 yards, and that should send us into the fourth quarter of play. So once again, for Coach McKay, I'm Jonathan Urbanowicz. We want to thank you for joining us on Junior Mustangs TV live on YouTube from all around the world. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. There's a penalty on the play to the Ravens, meaning that the quarter can't end.
And so that puts Juniors Mustangs into good field position to go for a strike into the end zone before that quarter turns around. That's something that they could really use, and again, try and make that swing to the fourth with something on the board.
A quick reminder that this half is brought to you by Team Link, the official sponsor of the OSFL. Team Link is a Canadian-based team management app enabling teams to share schedules, track attendance, automate reminders, chats, and more. Download Team Link from the App Store and set up your team for free. Now, despite the fact that there was a penalty at the end of the quarter against the defensive team, they're still sending us into the fourth quarter of play? I don't get that, Coach. As a Canadian geese bee flies right over the field. That was Canadian as hell.
Right. It doesn't get any more Canadian. And wonderfully, they're still heading north and not going south, so that's a good sign.
The flyover, a little ill-timed. We were trying to schedule it for 7 o'clock, but here at 8:45, the V goes over the field.
Yeah, better late than never, I suppose. Hopefully no one got bombed on their
Can we go back to the penalty thing, though, Coach?
Well,
Come on.
They're holding the sticks here, so it looks like they are potentially going to bring them back. I mean,
because to your point, the stick gang and the referees are on one side. Both the offense and the defense is setting up on the other side of the turf with no officials around to tell them to go.
Yeah, the officials are kind of now saying, hey, come on down here, the ball's here. So I'm not sure who told them to go to the other end. But the kids, the kids may not know that rule.
And the clock changed. Like, it went from third quarter 0s to fourth quarter 12. So I'm assuming if you're a kid, you look up on the board, you're going, well, then we got to go over here now.
Right, not realizing you don't have to have any time on the clock to play the play. So here it is.
So some extra cardio for both these two teams.
Like they want to be doing an extra running today in this heat.
Well, you know what? It obviously didn't play a factor in this game, but earlier with the Humidex hovering about above 40.
And the sun, yeah.
I really wouldn't have advised the junior varsity team to wear the black uniforms they did. Now, I don't know if they have a teal alternate or some sort of other color they could have meshed with, or just straight up contacted London in advance and said, hey, wear your purples. We're going to wear this then. Because, you know, like you said, I couldn't imagine wearing black in 40-degree heat, playing sports over the course of 4 quarters is going to help me.
I'm not sure I would want to wear a dark purple jersey either.
True.
So maybe that did happen and it was a respectful no thank you. But
Yeah, it's true.
so here we go. Western's going to get, or the J-Stangs are going to get an opportunity to get on the board here.
Yeah, London at the 1-yard line.
3 tries.
This is your best shot. Now, again, in theory, this is the final play of the 3rd quarter, despite the scoreboard saying it's the 4th. It's
All right,
Isaac
free
White
play.
trying to go to the back of the end zone.
Oh.
There's another flag on the play, meaning that the quarter can't end.
Play it out. Now the question is going to be, is it a pass interference for the offense or for the defense?
If it's on the offense, then it would conclude the quarter, correct?
Yeah, there was a lot of hands on both players. So let's see here on the replay what.
A lot of give and take, but it's at the very end when I don't know. I think you got to call the push-off there, don't you, on Kaberzovic?
Yeah, I think you would.
The officials get together. Ball still on the 1-yard line, unless they just picked up the flag.
They may have called it offsetting. They were both sort of handsing each other. So.
Well, then why call it at all?
Oh, they left the first down up, so obviously then they did penalize half the distance, but it stays on the 1-yard line.
Wow, so
they replay the down.
yeah, Ravens unfortunately don't get the call. A QB sneak attempted here by the Junior Mustangs. The defensive line holds them high, and I don't think they got in. They were trying to go through the backup quarterback, it appeared, partner, and they couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, there was a defensive end that basically just walked into the backfield and said, you're not going anywhere, and pulled them back.
So they lose about a yard as they were on the half-yard line, to your previous comment, partner, and now they will go 109 yards down to the other side of the field to start the 4th quarter on a 2nd and goal play.
Yeah, as much as I don't like walking on the field, I would tell my players to take your time getting down there and maybe even give some water on the way by.
And again, going back to the comment about the time, though, this touchdown's crucial in so many different aspects. 1, you get the monkey off the back with the goose egg off the board. 2, you get some momentum on your offense, knowing you can get some points against this defense. But 3, it will stop the clock that really evaporated that entire 3rd quarter.
That 3rd quarter went fast. That's right.
As soon as the field goal was made, the clock just zipped away. So thanks again for joining us on Junior Mustangs TV all around the world. Again, 2 broadcasts on Friday featuring Waterloo, Forest City, Chatham, and Guelph. Another 5 games on your Sunday featuring the Forest City, Guelph, Brantford, Hamilton, Vaughan, Sudbury, Cornwall, Hamilton, Huronia, and Sarnia. And then here on your Sunday, the creme de la creme, as they would say, Waterloo, Chatham, Hamilton, Brantford, Myers, and Burlington went through a thriller in the A Bantam Championship. A field goal ended that one. London won the A Junior Varsity Championship 26-9, and here they are in the Varsity Championship trying to get their first points on the game. It's a dump pass, and it's caught. Touchdown on the fake spike. I like that celebration. Why not? Have some fun, kid. Number 40. Brian Bennett on the 2-yard catch.
Yeah, you know what? That was a smart play. You knew you were not going to be able to run the ball on them. At least they have not been successful at doing so. So why not leak someone out of the backfield that you're not suspecting to get the ball and just dump it to them? The Essex Ravens are coming hard and heavy. They're very aggressive. So they came upfield, and that was open.
So finally, the Junior Mustangs are on the board here with 10:50 remaining now. Interesting, the clock is still running. See, now I don't know what's going on here, partner, because from my understanding, the clock shouldn't be running in that fashion anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
The PAT is good. That brings the deficit within 28 points, meaning that the clock shouldn't continue to rumble down the way that it is. Yet, just like that, we're already down to 10-20 and counting here in the 4th quarter. I mean, if you're a Ravens fan, you will take this any day of the week. However, if you're a Junior Mustangs fan, you're going, wait a minute, you're not even giving me a chance to come back in this thing.
Yeah, they're going to take their time lining up. They're going to take their time getting to the field with the clock running, right, just to burn it. So
the Junior Mustangs coaching staff is pointing that out, though, that the clock is continuing to rumble up, or down, I should say. So again, remember, folks, there's no play going on right now. A touchdown was just scored with about, well, on my clock, 11:04 remaining. And you see the kickoff after the touchdown hasn't even taken place yet, and now we're at 9:40. I'm all for speeding up the game when the game is over, but this game isn't over, and I take a huge barb at us finishing a championship between two undefeated teams in this nature.
Yeah, the gap's closing, and they're not really providing an opportunity for the Junior Mustangs to come back. And whoops, I'm not sure if that was intended or not.
I want to say it is, just not the result they wanted, as the returner not only grabbed the ball at midfield, but is able to bulldoze his way all the way up to the Mustangs 42.
Yeah, I think the mercy rule stays regardless of whether or not the team comes within 35 points by the looks of it.
And what's the point of a mercy rule then? Come on. That don't make no sense. Like, you're telling me you're winning by 35-0 in the second quarter or whatever. We get to half, the clock would still run. So I'm now it's a 35-32 game in the final minute, and you got the ball, you can just leak it out? That makes no sense.
Yeah, again, it doesn't provide the opportunity for that comeback. Wouldn't that upset you if the clock ran out and you're within?
Doesn't provide gamesmanship, doesn't provide sportsmanship, in my opinion, at this point. Now, to your previous point of why it's there, well, it's there so we don't get a 90-0 game, and you have a team leaving with ice bags on the bus the entire night. But this is the championship. There's no game next week. There's nothing to worry about. There's no tomorrow, as they like to say. I mean, I just think you let the teams play it out. However, we're already down to 8 minutes now in the fourth quarter.
And Essex will obviously just take their time getting the play in and milk the play clock as long as they can.
So kind of a lackluster way to end the weekend of championship football, if you ask me. But, hey, it is what it is. 4 weapons to the near side for Demoski to choose from. On this 2nd and 10, there's a blitz coming. They're going to call the Junior Mustangs offside. So to a really bizarre John Urban type point, wouldn't you then take a penalty every other play to stop the clock then? Because that's what just happened.
That's one way you could do it. It's going to cost you field position, but at least it stops the clock. What's more important this time? Time or field position? Well, and if Essex takes the penalty, then that makes it even easier.
Okay, so they're going to repeat it. The clock is stuck now at 7:32. Sorry to be so agitated about it, but I mean, it just doesn't seem right.
I think this rule agitates a lot of coaches around the league, and I just saw a message come in from one of the coaches at Queens, and he was agreeing that he does not love the rule either. Travis Dezan, the mercy rule does not work well.
Blitz coming, another halfback screen. They're going to say he caught this. I thought he one-hopped it off the turf.
It looked like it almost.
And that wasn't Steve Snyder you were talking to.
No, Travis Dezan.
Oh, Travis.
One of their other offensive coaches. Nope, that was clean.
Steve Snyder and J.P. Cercelli, who's now coaching the Windsor Lancers, in my opinion, the real reason why the stadium's being renovated right now, because if you recall, it was the 2017 undefeated season, which really set this program in the right direction that plays on this turf, known as the Western Mustangs.
That's right.
And, well, JP and Snyder were coordinators to a Greg Marshall-led squad, but allowed Greg Marshall to focus on the fine details that year.
And if you think about it, the teams around the league now, how many of them are influenced with Western or former Western players or coaches? I think there's something to be said about that.
Beautiful return all the way up to the 40-yard line. Almost got free. He'll be down at the 14. I think that was Mac Baker, number 13, on the return.
Yeah, it was a great wheel. He saw a little bit of daylight and ended up taking up the sideline. He's a heck of an athlete. I should be careful there. Gets it in the end zone and just finds a few little seams, a couple of good blocks, and just outruns people.
He got that runway I alluded to about earlier when it comes to kick returning. You just need that takeoff zone, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but once you get up to your speed, you start making moves, you start making guys' ankles break, and you make your own real estate. Isaac White, man open downfield between the coverage, catches it. It's Tyler Tierney. However, Tierney went down awkwardly, and I don't think he's getting up quickly.
Yeah, he's got to get off the field and get someone else in quickly so that they can continue because
clock is ticking. Under 5 minutes and 28 seconds now left on the clock.
Yeah, they will stop the clock for an injury, which seems right.
So then I'd be injured every other play then.
But now he has to go off. I mean, but a good
Okay,
example of
okay, but I'll throw it. 2017, same coach Snyder and JP Cercelli, Greg Marsh, same squad. I'm going to give a shout out to a lineman named Jimmy Hawley. And Jimmy Hawley was not only a fantastic lineman who, in my opinion, should have gone off to the CFL, but what he did was play a little Oscar nomination roles. Anytime momentum was slipping away or there was oh, my ankle, ooh, my knee. Everybody pay attention to me. Let's stop the clock. Let's focus on me for a bit here. And the other team's momentum
Right.
just sort of seemed to always slip away.
Right.
Well, I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but what I'm saying is if the clock continued to rumble on me like that,
Right.
then I'd be like, my knee.
yeah, you might only get away with that so many times, and I can tell you Tyler Tierney does not want to be off the field, but no. you're right.
Hollywood, as Ron Forwarder likes to call him, is there's a
Yeah.
deep shot from Isaac White in and out of the hands of the
Nice
receiver.
fingertips.
That was the chance right there. Dropped at the 5-yard line, and the clock continues to tick away. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, that was a nice play. The defensive back actually had great position on him, but he just sort of faded to the outside and to the sideline and just out of his fingertips.
And once again, for the Essex Ravens in the second half, their lone points have come from a field goal in the third quarter. But that field goal, well, it put some dynamite on the clock as it continued to tick down, as there's a timeout called by Glenn Mills and the Ravens on the field. Glenn was having a bit of an animated conversation with one of his players down there. No love for choir love.
Yeah, he didn't like something he saw.
So the time stops here. And you know what? I'll put a wet sock in my own mouth right now. It's a 35-7 game. It's 28 points. That's 4 possessions. So in theory, yeah, I mean, it is over. My point is that in a championship, I'd like to give every team that fun. Imagine in that Falcons-Patriots game if they just went, well, Matt Ryan, you got a 21-point lead. We're just going to speed up the clock. That wouldn't – come on.
Yeah, I mean, the rule is a good one because when you look at the previous scores from the early
That's
part of
right.
the season, those teams weren't coming back. And you can't change the rule for just one game or whether it's championship or not.
come
But
on.
it would be nice if they were able to.
A halfback screen in and out of the hands of the intended target.
Yeah, they're just not getting anything going right. They're starting to do the right thing by moving the ball and throwing it over the middle of the field where there's some space and some receivers open. But, yeah, the fumbly fingers have come out in this series.
Time is stopped at 4:32 as there's another junior Mustang down on the turf. Very wise, if you ask me, of number 14 and Charlie Smith. Bit of a cramp, and all of a sudden he's hydrated again. Good on you, Charlie Smith. You're doing exactly what I'd be doing on the field right now.
You called it.
Well, sorry. You got to play fire with fire. That's how you got to roll. No, in a championship game, no tomorrow. If you're getting short-sighted somehow, you got to make it up somehow.
Let's see if they can put together a first down here and keep the ball moving for themselves.
See, if they can get a touchdown here, they really hammer home my point. But if they don't, well, then you're telling Johnny Urban to shut up. Isaac White flushed out of the pocket, throws this one deep, it's intercepted, and that should conclude the ball game, folks. Pulling away the INT, I believe, was Nate Mortensen, the linebacker. Well, actually, it looks like it was number 45. That'd be Wilkins Fleuris. And for Wilkins Fleuris, as I mentioned before, he had 3 interceptions in the regular season. In fact, he had a fumble recovery. He had an INT return for a touchdown and a safety in 9 games on the regular season.
Yeah, I was trying to see on the replay what receiver that was supposed to be going to. I feel like that was a similar interception that occurred earlier in the game where that DB just sort of jumped underneath the route and the ball was either underthrown or the receiver was just a little deep.
So the Essex Ravens go back out there offensively. Expect to see nothing but runs from here on out with the clock not even stopping in between plays. It brings up 2nd and long.
Yeah, they're going to take their time getting back to the huddle. They're going to call a play, walk it up to the line, and just pound the ball inside. And
very lethargic is what they're going to be.
Yeah, they're conserving energy.
Take this opportunity to folks after the game. Please stay in the seating area so you can see the award presentation.
So once again, we got Boss the Ross Spedigue up in the broadcast booth. He's smiling from ear to ear. He knows he's adding more bling to the trophy case in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. He's already got a pretty nice piece of jewelry on that one fist from, well, his travels 3 years ago to this very stadium. The blitz is coming from the junior Mustangs, and they do get to basic Hayden in the backfield. Flags, a plethora at the end of the play. So once again, just to try and summarize this weekend up just a little bit, you started off joining us at 5:30 p.m. on your Friday night. That was for the U16 Regional Cup action between Waterloo and the Forest City Thunderbirds. That same night later on at 8 p.m., we had more Regional Cup action in the U18 variety as Chatham took on Guelph. The next day, we had lots of Sandy Ruxtall Cup and KJ Kenemy Memorial Cup action, as it was the Forest City Thunderbirds taking on the Guelph Junior Griffins at 9 a.m., followed by the Brantford Bisons and the Hamilton Junior Tiger Cats at 11:30 a.m. in the U16 variety. They continued U16 football as Vaughan took on Sudbury. I wonder how the Rebels did there at the 2 p.m. game. Again, that was a Sandy Ruxtall Cup game. It continued Saturday afternoon. U18 action between Cornwall and Hamilton. I mean, this tournament really covered every inch of this province from north, east, south, and west. U18 Sandy Russ Cup action ended with Huronia taking on Sarnia at 7 p.m. And then finally today, as I'm already running out of action, Waterloo took on Chatham in U14 action. The U14 KJ Memorial Cup was between Hamilton and Brantford. We had a thriller in the Bantam A championship between the Myers Riders and Burlington Stampeders. And then London was able to beat the Essex Ravens in the junior varsity game. Well, the Essex Ravens look to give it right back to them here on the varsity side of things. And that will literally wrap up 12 games of football in 72 hours here on Junior Mustangs TV.
Yeah, I'd say they've warmed up this turf to get ready for the Mustangs season for sure. That's a lot of football in one weekend, and kudos goes out to all the organizers that put this together with Football Ontario. And
well, you have Adam Melrose, who I think is clinically insane for putting this all together and making us all come here and do it. However, I think he's taken a page out of KJ Kenemy's book, which I greatly honor and appreciate, and doing this was an amazing thing to be a part of. You have his talented, beautiful wife, Stephanie Melrose, who's been producing the last couple games. Get the heck out of here, Adam. We don't even need you, because Stephanie's way better at the producing stuff. And then, oh yeah, their kid decides to score a touchdown in the championship game, and he wins a junior varsity champ. It's truly been a Melrose kind of day here in London, Ontario. But I also want to give a shout out to the countless volunteers that helped Junior Mustangs TV be possible, our graphics crew, our camera squad, as well as all the other broadcasts that took place. I'll be honest with you, I'm talking about these 12 games. I only did 2, so I kind of just put on a fake mustache and some sunglasses and cut in at the last lap of the marathon.
yeah, everyone set it up and you knocked it down, right?
Yeah, I like that wording.
Yeah,
so we go to Cole Thompson yet again, and man, they couldn't stop him in the first quarter. They couldn't stop him in the second. They're not stopping him here in cleanup time.
No, he's just they'll give him one more carry before that whistle blows, and that'll be it.
So if you are the Essex Ravens, you started off your year beating the Peel Panthers 51-0. The Niagara Spears 44-7. The Stampeders of Burlington 36-11. You shut out the Brantford Bisons 50-zip. You zipped out the Cambridge Lions 39-zip. Then it was a tight 17-11 thriller over the Hamilton Junior Tiger Cats, 41-7 drubbing over the Niagara Spears. A forfeited tie against this London Junior Mustang squad. Remember, these two teams were supposed to play each other Saturday, July 9th. It didn't happen due to the passing of Coach KJ Kenemy. And you know what? A man that he respects dearly on the field, Glenn Mills, just got the bucket. That's the tradition coaches love.
Yeah, everyone likes a bucket of something cold out of it, whether it be colored or clear. It's a nice feeling at the end of a game.
I'm sure it feels a lot better in 40-degree humidity.
It sure would. It sure would.
So congratulations goes to Coach Glenn Mills, his entire coaching staff, and all of the Essex Ravens here in 2022 after beating the Myers Riders and Burlington Stampeders in the postseason. They come into London and shut down the Junior Mustangs 35-7. One last knee, and the championship is theirs. The Ravens soar high in 2022. They are your inaugural Ontario Summer Football League Varsity A champions.
Yeah, and that's they have every reason to celebrate after that game. That was one-sided from the very first play of the game to the end. That was a great performance and a great display of excellent football, at least on one side of the ball
It
today.
looked like a neck-and-neck affair for the first 13 minutes as we had goose eggs on the scoreboard. However, a Domofsky hold and run for 5 yards concluded the opening quarter and put the Essex Ravens up 7-0. The second quarter was pure domination. 2 touchdown receptions from Kobe Ginn, one of the 35 and the other of the 40-yard variety. Split between an Elliott 6-yard TD catch and a safety brought us up to a 32-0 scoreboard in the fourth quarter. They added to it. It was 35-zip thanks to the field goal, which allowed the clock to start evaporating. And despite the fact with 11:04 remaining in the game, Brian Bennett was able to get his team on the board with the 2-yard catch, the big man rumbling into the end zone. I love the fake spike celebration, too, by the way.
Yeah, he wasn't going all through with it.
But you know what? I'll just throw it again. I think the time really messed with the Junior Mustangs. I'm not saying it would have made a difference in this one, but it really didn't give them any shot. They lose 35-7.
Yeah, I think they wish they could have that second quarter back. And, you know, the momentum, like you said, they just unraveled. That momentum got away from them. And when they came back from the second half, you know, the football was a little bit better, but it was too late at that point that the damage had been done.
I know KJ might be a little disappointed at his team losing in the championship game, but I know he's proud of every last kid on the field, not just in a purple and white uniform, but in a black and teal one too, as he had respect for every kid that played this sport across the globe, let alone the province.
Yeah, and you know, to get to this game alone, the championship game is no easy feat, right? You have to go through some great teams along the way all over the province. There's some good football out there, and both of these teams, you know, can hold their head high for getting here. One of them just keeps the head high as they walk off the field at the end of this game.
The London Junior Mustangs didn't allow a touchdown until the fourth game of the regular season after shutting out the Waterloo Predators 42-0, the Chatham-Kent Cougars 62-0, and the Etobicoke Eagles 49-0. Yeah, they gave up 14 points to Niagara, but beat them 44-14 in the process. They'd get their fourth shutout of the year over the Brantford Bisons 33-zip on Saturday, June 8th. But since then, it's not that the defense slipped up at all, but they were allowing 2 to 3 touchdowns a game, and in this one, they allowed 5 on the board.
Well, the way they set up the structure of the league this year, right, the double-A teams were playing single-A teams early in the season, and so a lot of those games were rather lopsided. But as you go through later in the season, those matchups tend to get a little bit more what they're supposed to be. Double-A versus double-A, competitive versus competitive, and the scores are more truly indicative of equally matched teams. Whether they stick with that or whether they're going to go with now a relegation of those teams now that this first season of this inaugural restructuring of the league, whether it's going to continue this way or change, I'm not sure. But, yeah, you got better matchups towards the end of the season for sure.
Want to give one last shout out to all of our sponsors, including BioSteel, Momentum Fundraising, HelloFresh, Quest Awards, Barron Championship Rings, the Buffalo Bills. What? Bill Melfield was up in here. Team Linked, MLSC. You better win us a championship with TFC soon, guys. And the Area 51 Sports Apparel Company, as well as our local community partners, the Western Mustangs, the London Junior Mustangs, the London Beefeaters, and the Forest City Thunderbirds. One heck of a weekend of football here in the Forest City. It started off on a Friday evening. It's ending here 72 hours later, plus I should say on your Sunday evening. And man, oh man, after the greatest line in all of sports formed between these two teams, we're going to see who the offensive and defensive MVPs and then the overall game MVP of this inaugural Varsity A Championship in the 2022 Ontario Summer Football League. As my producer's stealing my pen up here, I need that thing.
Yeah, who do you have to think is going to get the MVP for the game in this one?
I mean, offensively, you got to give it to Kobe Ginn, I think. I think overall, you give it to Domofsky.
Yeah, actually, those are two good choices. I mean, Gibb had a great game.
I mean, he had only 75 yards, 2 touchdowns on 2 catches. Just
right?
simply that.
He was explosive when he got the ball, man. And had he got the ball more this game, he would have done even more damage. But, yeah, he was definitely one of the best players on the field tonight.
So actually, it is Dalton Van Laer. I mentioned him at the beginning of our broadcast. He's the one that really stirs the coffee as far as the defense is concerned. During the regular season, had 22 tackles, 1 interception, and 5 pass blocks. He's your defensive MVP of this varsity championship.
Yeah, he was all over the field. He was in that backfield and stuffing that offense from the Junior Mustangs on almost every play. He was disruptive all game.
So we hit the nail on the head here.
There
Kobe
it is.
Ginn, with 8:13 remaining in the second quarter, Domosky, I should say, found him with a 35-yard catch. And what I loved about the 2 touchdowns between Domosky and Ginn is not just the beautifully thrown pigskin and spiral from Domosky, but it's like you can't out-throw Ginn. He just ran right into the pigskin and caught it in the end zone on both occasions, as Domosky is your MVP of the championship game.
Yeah, there's your 1-2 punch offensively, right? I mean, it was just it was a sandlot football game for those two out there today. I mean, it was just quarterback to receiver, and it was damaging with every catch.
Pure dominance by a program that supposedly only loses 7 players going into next year. Is there, well, I'm not even going to say a chance. What do you think the chances are of them repeating next year?
Well, I'd say they're front runners for sure. But the Junior Mustangs obviously have those junior varsity guys that are coming up and are going to be filling some empty spots, and I think they have some good pedigree there.
What a moment for Joseph Filion. As you recall, at the beginning of this game, during the moment of silence, went over to the coach's wife and Michelle Kennedy and presented her flowers. And now, well, the tide sort of turns. Michelle is going to present the captains of the Ravens the championship trophy.
But as you said, Coach Kennedy and I would imagine the whole family are happy for, just a great game, a quality game, and, winning in such style and such class. You're happy to hand the trophy over, even if it's not to a Junior Mustang team.
So the trophy is handed off. It ends up in Joseph Filion's hand, sort of a lateral between Michelle to Coach Glenn Mills, but now the Ravens hold it high. In the year 2022, they fly over the entire province of Ontario. They are your 2022 varsity champions. Coach McKay, as we conclude this broadcast with the beautiful championship ceremony there between the Ravens, can you just summarize your football today that you experienced?
Well, you know what? This was great football today. I showed up at the stadium when it was rather hot, but excited to watch the Junior Mustangs play. And, always watching the Essex Ravens over the years, you knew both games were going to be good. You hope both games are going to be good. And I don't think either team, either game disappointed. We would like to have seen a little bit more of a push from the Junior Mustangs in the second game. But, that Essex Ravens team, kudos to them. They are a dynamite group of young men who clearly are dialed in, and that was a heck of a performance from them this evening.
For Coach McKay, Ron Ferwerda, Bruno DeSando, Ross Spedigu, and a few other names, just to name a few, as well as Stephanie and Adam Melrose. Oh, yeah, let's throw a shout-out to Cannon Melrose, who got a touchdown on the field, too. Alex Schleihoff, our entire camera crew, as well as all the guys doing it down on the graphics. A fantastic job all week long presenting double-digit football games over the course of 72 hours. It concludes with the Essex Ravens winning the 2022 varsity championship here at Western University. For the rest of the crew, I'm Jonathan Urbanowicz. Thanks for joining us here for more football history on Junior Mustangs TV. It's 68 and breezy